Merry Christmas.
You know,
Merry
one,
Christmas, you filthy animal.
One is the loneliest number that you could ever do.
Merry Christmas, you filthy animal. It's primero de, how do you say December in Spanish?
No,
it's go-
whatever.
Feliz Navidad.
Feliz
Feliz
Navidad.
Navidad.
It's a
There it
little
is.
early for Christmas music, you guys.
See, Diciembre, that's how you say it.
December 1st is today, which means it is indeed the Christmas season. And it's actually cold today.
Let's see. And the first,
See, 2
Hanukkah
weeks
starts-
before Christmas. That's when you start
Hanukkah is
singing the
late
Christmas
this year.
It is. My family's doing it on the 28th. It's really late this year.
It's December 25th to January 2nd.
Yeah, it's late.
Why is it starting this late?
I don't know. That's just where the lunar calendar is this year.
It always starts on the 25th day of Kislev, the 9th month of the Hebrew calendar.
Yeah.
It's also our favorite nation in Warhammer.
Israel?
No, there is in Israel in it, but I'm talking about Kislev. You don't know anything about Warhammer Fantasy, I do.
No, and I'm going to refuse to learn
Kyle?
everything about it.
There's so much stuff in Warhammer that you would love, and you just hate it because you're a hipster.
No, I hate it because I hate the mechanics of the game.
You
Hey,
hate it because
Kyle.
you're countercultural. You haven't even touched Wrath and Glory. That's a 2d6 system.
Okay, that
Kyle.
might do better.
You need to eat everything on your plate before you hate it.
What?
We need more D100 systems, guys.
There it is.
God damn it.
Kyle,
After all,
Yes.
I told.
let me
he's
come
got some
into your
fun.
house and let me join your family.
Yeah, there it is.
Hey, I can make a really good Hanukkah, you know.
For a nice Hasidic holiday,
No.
let's get into it.
Anyway.
We gotta
Oh, come
save.
on, Colt.
We gotta save on the holiday.
You know I never did anything bad. Look, I know I put a firecracker up my ass during 4th of July, and that was really bad. I know I accidentally made a noose with the Christmas lights. And
Johnny, why did you
almost
bring
hung
the
myself.
Malkavian in for this episode?
He has to be in this at
Okay.
I don't
gunpoint.
know.
Yeah. He was going to mint me if I didn't bring him in. So it's either I burn this alone or you burn it all with me.
Anyway.
All right.
Alright.
Good.
Let's get into it. So, what is the theme of this book? Take a wild guess as to what the theme is. Take a wild guess. Just look at
Pain,
this cover.
isolation, hopelessness.
I
Goth.
think the intro
Orphans.
period for it is
Oh.
actually well written.
Yeah,
The intro is the Camarilla, the Garu Nation, and the Council of Nine Traditions each have their own scapegoats.
Yeah.
The little guys who are always getting kicked around, exiled and alone, they haunt the back roads and alleys of the Well to Darkness, always looking over their shoulders, watching, waiting. Paranoid?
Yeah.
They should be, because something really is out to get them. Hungry for their blood, their rage, or their very souls.
and
Welcome to Outcasts, a player guide to Pariahs.
I really do like this book, and the guy that wrote it died this year. F in the chat for this man.
Rip.
The guy
He
that
died
wrote it
back
was
in March.
James Moore was the guy's name, and if you want to know what he did for World of Darkness, a lot of mage. I was reading this book, I'm thinking, well, why is the mage content so stacked in this book? And it all makes sense because your background, your wheelhouse is mage. But he did a lot of stuff for Wraith as well. He wrote, and he also wrote Berlin by Night, which is one of my favorite backgrounds. We gotta do an episode on Berlin by Night because I think that book takes the case for most evil characters in all of Vampire.
Well,
I'm
they're
not
all
even
German,
kidding.
obviously.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Hermann Goering is Malkavian. He be demented with his morphine,
You
y'ah.
sound like Blaze the
Hitler
movie fan.
Has only got one ball going. Has two but very small. Himmler. There's something similar. But poor old
if I
girls
didn't
has
know
no
that
balls
Lou
at
Reed-
all.
If Lou Reed wasn't going to claim the video, I would have played what was it? Berlin's Lou Reed's Berlin at the start of it.
Oh my god.
But yeah, if you notice with the artwork of this book, I sent you pages, Kyle. I sent you pages, Ryan. There's a lot of goth stuff.
Yeah, there is. The art in this book is actually very good.
A lot of goth
I
stuff.
agree.
Yes.
And
It's
when you
very
shut up,
werewolf
poser.
focused, but like even in the non-werewolf sections, but it's all good.
Yeah, and we had a ton of artists for this book too. Richard Thomas, Mike Cheney, Richard Ferguson, Mark Jackson, Matt Milberg, Steve Prescott, Nick Ruskin, and T. Walden, where I can't find anything else that he's done. But We got a lot of guys, and Bill Bridges is where he belongs in the developer seat with this. Any book that Bill Bridges touches, I automatically trust as a valid source of information. To me, this is Mr. World Darkness when it comes to books that he's made. Damn, I wish he was back in the game. But let's get into it. We will begin with the first group, the Caitiff. Now, Ryan,
Yes.
with the Caitiff, what was the first vampire group that you played as?
The Caitiff.
The Caitiff.
I
And
smell
why did
blood
you
right there.
and why did you pick the Caitiff? What?
Mainly because it's like, hey, you can choose any of these powers. And I was like,
Eh.
you know what? That sounds easy.
And you clicked that without reading what the weakness was.
Yep.
Yeah, where you didn't know that the Camarilla would want to kill you just for you existing.
Yep.
And that with your existence, the Sabbat was going to exploit you as much as they could, and the Anarchs are the Anarchs. The Anarchs pretend that they care about people when they really don't.
Oh, yeah.
But you came in, and your first vampire character was Sylvester Shrek. And you did so well with that character. You came right out of the park with that character. We've already talked about this in your character corner, but just how much he stood out from the rest of the party as well. Where I brought up that scene where we all went to a grocery store and everyone else was buying stuff in the store. Meanwhile, you were out drinking a woman's blood in the front seat of her car, and you just walk right back into the store like nothing happened.
That was
Yep.
a very
damn.
good scene.
He-
Come out
he
with a
did
12
that
pack
a
of beer
lot.
and some cigars. My bro's just wiping the blood off his face.
Yeah, Vigo's causing a scene. He gets the manager up in his face, and then he uses Dominate, and then storms right out of the store. And with everything you did with Sylvester Shrek, I saw you, like, as we were playing the game, you got more and more and more involved in the character, and eventually you got to the point where we had to use you again for Rich Cross New York.
Yeah.
That character had to make a comeback, and sure, there is a benefit to the Caitiff because if you are if you think you can get away with the weaknesses, and you can pick your disciplines the way you want, sure, you can do it with the Caitiff. But your blood potency is going to suck, your blood points are going to suck, and then the Camarilla is going to want to kill you. There is no way you can do a Camarilla game with a Caitiff. You're going to have to lie through your teeth if you're going to be a part of the Camarilla as a Caitiff. And eventually, it's not a matter of if, but it's going to be when. They're going to find out that you're a Caitiff. If you say you're a Venture, they're going to ask you to recite your heritage. Tremere, they're going to ask why you're not getting into the Chantries. Torador, where's your money in your collection? Nosferatu, why aren't you in the server? Gangrel, why aren't you in the woods? Bruja, you probably could get away with the Bruja, but Malkavian just speaks with you. The first conversation you have with that Malk, he will know that you're Caitiff. And you are going to have to kiss up to that Malkavian for the rest of the game, and then he will eventually spill that secret. And when you're playing as a Caitiff, sure, you have power at character creation, but then for the rest of the game, after session 1, you have the gun pressed to your back the entire game.
Yeah.
And why exactly are the Caitiff hated this much?
Well, it comes down to a number of factors.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, with a few rare exceptions,
Yes.
they are a new phenomenon. Most Caitiff did not start showing up in a large amount until the Battle of New York
Yes.
happened,
Which
where
will-
both the Camarilla and the Spot both started mass siring in
Yes.
order to make enough, childer to actually field the battlefield, because there was
Yes.
open warfare in the streets.
Yes.
And after that happened, which I think the Battle of New York happened somewhere in like the 30s,
It did.
ever since then, Caitiff have become more and more common
Yeah.
since then.
Yeah.
So it's a new thing. Vampires do not like new things. Second, it is the Book of Nods speaks about the time of the clanless, where people march at night and they have no clan to call their own. So it's a sign of Gehenna.
Yeah.
On top of that, vampires like to be able to prepare for things. It's part of the benefits of having eternal life, or unlife in their case. So with Caitiff, you never know what you're going to get. If you're fighting a Ventru, they might be a little bit sneaky and come at you with celerity and like, oh, I didn't expect that. But like, you can deal with like 1 or 2 tricks. but Caitiff are all tricks. And this book actually goes much further into that than anywhere else before or after in the lore does. A lot of the stuff in this book has since been retconned out of canon. But I see no issue taking this book because there's a lot of good ideas in this book
There is.
of how to make a caitiff or even an entire coterie of caitiffs work for a chronicle.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, Coterie of
there
Chaos. You are
is
sweating with that. That's a dangerous game we're playing.
yeah, there is the way the caitiff are spoken of in this book, and then where they're spoken of in every other aspect of mention in Vampire the Masquerade. In this
Yes.
book, they are sort of described as every single caitiff has a random splattering of disciplines, and sometimes they will develop new disciplines out of nowhere.
Now say that again. Say that again. New disciplines.
Yeah, new disciplines out of nowhere. This is heavily counteracted in every other other instance of talk about caitiff. It is known that caitiff can make new disciplines. This is a thing, but it's supposed to be a very rare and uncommon thing for them. But this book, how it runs it is, it's a 7. Like it's not even it's a thing that all caitiff can do, and if you take it as a 7-point merit called New Bloodline, not only can you create your own new discipline, you can pass this discipline on to your child or through your blood.
Now that blows my mind with that feature.
Yeah,
That
which
sounds really good for Sylvester.
which for a design element is actually really good. If this was isolated and not connected to the rest of Vampire the Masquerade, it'd be a very good design element because it adds on to that paranoia. Because when kindred are dealing with bloodlines, any bloodline that cements itself usually only cements itself one of two ways. There's a reason people look at the Giovanni and the Tremere with a level of not only disdain, but distrust and fear of the fact they took out one of the original clans and now they are official. They're,
Yes.
box standard. This is one of the 13 clans now. And they're afraid they're next, and this caitiff could be the cause of it.
Imagine that scenario where you are a Camarilla sheriff. You're going after a caitiff. You think this is just going to be another cut and chuck job, nothing to worry about. You go in, you have your thaumaturgy, you have your celerity, everything's going great. You're about to land a death blow on that caitiff, and then your sword goes through thin air. You swore that you're about to stab him, and then he just disappears, and then reappears behind you and stabs you through the back with one punch.
Oh, fuck yeah, let's go.
Yeah, that kind of fear. And it turns out in your dying, right before you go into torpor, he informs you that he's not the only one with this new discipline. He doesn't have a name for it, but they're developing new powers for it. And just like the pants-shitting terror that you would have as a long-staying member of the Camarilla, knowing that there is a new kid on the block that threatens your entire power structure. Because, after all, the Camarilla, in all honesty, are based off a house of cards, where you see it in storylines where the Gangrel leave the Camarilla, just how much they sprawl and scramble to get the Gangrel back or find a replacement. Where I think the Bruja just up and leaving in 5e was a terrible idea. Because yes, the Bruja do make up the Anarchs, but not every Bruja is an Anarch. Some of them know that the only way you can really exist is that as much as you want to be as a punk, you want to be punk, but you need to acknowledge that you need the establishment if you're going to exist. Once you get rid of the government, how are you supposed to survive? Have you planned it out this far? And the Gangrel, well, Kyle, let's be honest, how much did the Gangrel really contribute to the Camarilla?
We don't because we don't care.
As the Gangrel keep coming
What the
and
dog
going.
doing?
They keep coming and going through vampire history. And they come back when it benefits them. They leave once they find out that Hardstep the Younger has been lying to them all this entire time. And I thought it was a smart idea for them to bring in the Banu Hakim, because by that point, the Clan Esmite had completely collapsed as a clan, and bringing them in under this new Islamist vampire banner was a good idea. I do not believe that Sombre would ever do that. No. Never. Sombre is all about taking life into your own hands. You're not going to eat crow and join the Ventrue. That's just not what they're going to do. But imagine that, just anyone replacing a Kimberla clan, where a bunch of Caitiff come in and instead of, say, Clan Gangrel leaving, this group of Caitiff all of a sudden kills the Gangrel. How quickly would the power structure of the Kimberla fall apart after that? Where not only do you have 6 clans now, but now this out of nowhere 16th clan is going around, and who knows if they're going to throw their lot in with the La Sombra or the Zamichi, or whether or not they're going to go independent and start undermining you again like the Giovanni and the Setites are. You don't want this to threaten the establishment. If the Kimberla don't have control, they have nothing. And this is the sad truth that the Kimberla just don't want to admit. They're not as strong and scary as they think they are. So this is why they don't want the Caitiff around. But the Sabbat, on the other hand, it's more about superstition. Because, yes, you're going to get the Caitiff, you're going to get him to help you. You're also going to send the Caitiff to his death. You want that Caitiff to die because the more Caitiff around, well, I mean, if you're not keeping an eye on the Caitiff, they're going to go and sire another vampire, right? And then that vampire will continue to sire and sire until you get to generation 16, I do believe, when it becomes a thin blood. And
14
yeah,
is
14.
when there's a 50% chance at 14th generation,
Yes.
and then 15th and 16th are always thin bloods.
Yeah. And
For now.
if the thin blood embraces somebody, then what's going to happen?
Then it's
His
just
blood
going to
is-
be a ghoul at that point. You can't
Yeah,
have
but-
a thinner blood.
Yeah, the thinnest
The-
blood.
The 16th generation is so fundamentally weak. There are definitely ghouls out there stronger than them. And eventually, when the 17th generation is eventually sired,
Yeah.
because it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, they will be no stronger than a ghoul.
Now,
So, like, at that point, what is the merit of this kindred?
you remember when we were playing Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines that we encountered E on the beach? And he said
I
that
think so.
Yes,
and
I
he was
remember.
he was embraced, and that he was a thin blood, and everyone else around him was a thin blood. And
Yeah,
They're
no,
like, they
no.
hate us, but we don't know why.
now there was nothing stopping you from going into celerity or potency and massacring all of them. There's nothing stopping you from doing that. And
I
it's-
was a neonate. I didn't know fuck all about that.
and it's easy money to kill them off. There's no resistance, there's no difficulty in that fight. It screws you out of a side quest, it screws you out of experience points, but if you want to play low humanity, you can do that.
Well, look, I'm
Yeah.
following the path of humanity because, being a vampire kind of fucking sucks, but,
Where to kind of establish, like, 4 thin bloods in Vampire Canon could be taken out by a kindred who was embraced that night, in terms of how weak they are. It's say, swatting a fly with a tennis racket that's connected to a electric generator. You don't need that much overkill, but that's the appropriate analogy for just how easy it is to snap a thin blood over your knee.
Now, I believe we're speaking about thin bloods next week. And
Yeah.
while all thin bloods are Caitiff, not all Caitiff are thin bloods. So I
Yeah.
think we should focus on the Caitiff of the hour,
Yeah.
at least this week.
Yeah. So with the Caitiff 2, I'm starting to get impatient. I want to talk about this guy. I want to talk about Joseph Panders. Can we please talk about Joseph Panders?
Oh my God, yes, Daddy, Joseph
God.
Panders. Yes, Daddy.
He's not even the character in this book. I would
Yeah.
much rather him have been, because Pander is insufferable and self-serving, but at least he has gumption. He
Yeah.
has drive.
Yeah.
The character, the Caitiff character we have here, because this is a Caitiff book, not a
Yeah.
Pander book.
Yeah.
It actually talks very poorly about the Panders in this book.
Yeah.
We have in this book Dr. Solomon Gray,
Yeah.
which normally, like Dr. Douglas Netchurch, Dr. Alan Woodstock, both vampire doctors that are some of my favorite characters in all of canon.
Mhm.
Dr. Solomon Gray is the most insufferable brat
It's-
I have ever had the displeasure of reading from his perspective on.
yeah. He sounds like a bitch this entire book.
He does. And I don't understand everything else in this book. All the stories in this book are exceptionally well written.
Yeah.
And then you just get to this character and he has the biggest chip on his shoulder. And like
My mama was a
it hurts me
gangrel.
to
She
say this.
didn't love me.
Well, then true.
He
But like,
tried, I don't know, killing her in cold blood.
he has such a chip on his shoulder, and he's so whiny, and he's speaking so much like higher, like, oh, I know so much more than you. I'm better than you, and like everything he tries, he succeeds at. Not only does he have his fancy own weird discipline that he's developed, he's also met the Stone Man and learned disciplines for. He is very Mary Sue.
Yeah.
This character is a very Mary Sue written character, and I don't really get that from most other point of view characters in Vampire. There are some characters who are very strong, but you never feel as if they're like, oh yes, I have everything, and then a jar of mayonnaise like this guy does. I just really don't like him. And it has nothing to do with the fact that he kills the Tremere that's interrogating him, because the Tremere written in this also a huge prick, but in the most Tremere way possible. So I actually really appreciate it.
Let's see, if I regenerated Joseph Pander's character because that picture I posted in studio notes, and I'd say I regenerated. The jacket's a little bit fucked up, but that's Joseph Pander's right there. This is the guy that we wish was narrating this.
Bro, persona head
well-
ass.
Yeah, he honestly does, though.
The difference is a Pander and a Caitiff are at this point actually different things.
Yeah.
This book actually establishes the difference between them.
Is it-
Like
Behold the glyph.
Panders aren't treated well in the Sabbat, but they're treated a lot better than they are in the Camarilla, and that's why a lot have flocked to them. Because there are a few cities that the Camarilla run that are accepting of Caitiff. But you have to, by accepting, I mean you are a second-class citizen, and the only one who you're treated better than is the Thin Bloods. The Thin Bloods are lower on the totem pole than you, but everyone else is higher. A Zamitsi comes to town and says, "Hey, I know you don't like my clan, but I would like to join the Camarilla. I'm independent agent." That guy, as mistrusted as he's going to be, is going to be treated better than you. The Tremere are more trusted than you as a Caitiff. Like, this is a huge downside. The only place you get any respect is the Anarchs, and you have to earn it there because they still don't trust you there.
And the reason why I love Joseph Pander so much is because he earns that. This man, during the Third Sabbat Civil War in the 50s, out of nowhere in the Sabbat, declares that he's creating his own clan, and then creates a ritual that breaks off clan-based magic, where any Malkavian that joins his group after he goes through Joseph Pander's ritual is expelled from the Madness Network. He no longer has that oracle sense, but he can think lucid for the first time in his life, on life at the very least. And everything that Joseph Panders has, he has earned it. This man has scraped his way all the way up and gained the rank of Priscus, dude. Priscus in the Sabbat. You know, like, the Sabbat is just like such a huge meritocracy where, dog, this guy is rubbing shoulders and advising archbishops and cardinals.
Holy fuck.
And he is not anything special.
Yeah.
Like, he did not do, like, when I say that, like, he's not, like, his sire isn't anyone special. He doesn't have any fancy disciplines that make him great. Like, he does this all through force of will and smart playing. Joseph Pander, of the Sabbat characters, I really like him. Unfortunately, he's part of the Sabbat, so, kill him like the rest.
What are you talking about? Sabbat know what they're talking
I'm
about.
gonna-
The Sabbat know what they're doing.
I'm gonna
No, they
disagree
don't.
there, Aaron Janner. Like, look, I'm not part of the Sabbat anymore, but they were an abusive family. But just like any kind of abusive family, you cannot help but feel nostalgic. You cannot help but be like, wow, my mom beat the fuck out of me, but I sure do miss her.
Yeah, it is kind of sad, but that is how it is, yeah.
And it's
I'm a fucking loser.
in Rage Cross New York. No, we're doing a vampire game on Fridays. I had to put Joseph Panders in it. I could not resist using this guy as a character. And
Nice.
He's definitely a good character.
where everything he has earned it, and where most of my players in that game are vampires that you only have stuff because your sire gave it to you, and that's it. You're looking at a guy that earned everything he has, where a guy that was beneath you that was lower than you earned his status and rose above you. And you can't even say all of us were embraced after this guy because some of our characters in that game were embraced in 1920. So where's your excuse in this? And he's ultimately a benchmark for my players to meet. And they haven't seen him fight yet. I've changed up his discipline spread. I am waiting to use this man in combat. I think this might be my favorite character in all of Vampire the Masquerade, in all honesty.
He
Where
does seem like a pretty
That's
solid
that's a
dude.
hot take, but
Yeah.
each is entitled to their own opinion.
there it is. Jan Peter Zune comes very close, but Joseph Panders beats him out. Oh my gosh. And do the Caitiff really have any history beyond like pop-up cases where a Caitiff makes his own clan or anything? No.
They just exist.
You just
There-
exist.
There's a small amount of history. Most of the history of the Caitiff is false, as a
Yes.
note. Most of it has been created by Dr. Solomon Gray. He has done. He is the figurehead of the Caitiff movement for the Camarilla.
Yeah.
He's the one that
Bruh.
helps other Caitiff essentially establish themselves in Camarilla domains to essentially be like, hey, you're going to have to do the dirty work that not even Assamites are going to be wanting to do,
Mhm.
but you get to live. He's also the one that like gets people settled in small towns where like no one is gonna like mess with anyone. So a lot of the story of the Caitiff is false, but he will say things along the line of there are several fourth generation Caitiff running around. This is
Cap.
demonstrably untrue. There is one fourth
Well,
generation stone that goes around. He's the Stone Man.
The
He
Stone
is
Man.
he is actually, until this book, seen as a mythical figure to the Caitiff, and in this book has been established as actually existing.
And
As
there
not only
is-
do we have confirmation from Solomon Gray, we also have it from other sources outside of just Caitiff that talk about him as an actual living,
Cuthbert
unliving,
Beckett.
unbreathing thing.
Yeah, Cuthbert Beckett, where that man doesn't publish anything in his diary unless it's true.
Yeah, and then
And-
there's talk of a number of other individuals that have been of like the 6th generation and the 8th generation, which there are Caitiff like that. They're just few in number. The higher your generation, the more likely you can become Caitiff when you're sired. But generally speaking, lower generation, the curse is a lot more firm. As such, you're probably not going to be Caitiff unless something's really traumatic about your siring.
There is one thing that comes to my mind when I think about that. Diablerie.
Yeah.
That's
That's
there's-
actually
you said
there's something I would like to bring up on that. Yeah. In this book, it essentially runs as any Caitiff can make their own bloodline.
Yes.
This is later retconned. Your blood has to be strong enough to imprint upon others.
Yes.
So, essentially, you cannot make it is later established you cannot make your own bloodline unless you're of the 6th generation.
Yes.
You do not have to naturally be of the 6th generation in order to establish a bloodline.
Mhm.
You can be one of these. We'll talk about the inceptors next week. But if you're one of these Caitiff here that's really weird and you've made your own discipline and you're able to lower your generation to the 6th generation, something about your personality will be kept in the blood, and that will manifest as your new curse
Mhm.
that
Which is-
you hand down to your childer, as well as the disciplines that are strongest in your blood. That is something any Caitiff has the ability to do, and it's a very terrifying thing that they can do because of that.
Where, for
But it does
example, with Rand's
get your
character
feet under
Sylvester Shrek, if you were to make a bloodline Sylvester Shrek, I would say that your clan weakness would be his sense of justice, where right is right, wrong is wrong, black and white, there is no gray. And your Phobos sense of conviction that influences every single decision you make. There is no nuance. There's good people, there's bad people. And that gets in the way of your social standing and your ability to make judgment calls.
I would 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, The final thing outside of the discipline example they give, because this is not the only discipline that the Caitiff have created, but it gives an example discipline in kineticism, which is a neat, if not kind of broken discipline combat-wise, especially to give to a Caitiff, because they could also team it up with other really strong disciplines. Is that in this book, it gives a option for storytellers to say that all bloodlines descend from Caitiff. This is not supported anywhere else. Like, it's very clear where all these other bloodlines that do exist come from. They have parent clans where they originate from. So while a Caitiff bloodline is certainly a possibility that a Caitiff could one day achieve, it has not been done yet.
There isn't, but if there's anyone who could, it would be the Prince of Egypt.
Yeah. So he would.
Oh,
He would
are
yeah,
we
that's
talking about
right.
the Caitiff Prince of Cairo?
That's the one. I forget his name.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't think he's willing to do that, considering he does want to kill all the Caitiff in the world, including himself.
No, Bloodline's a
Um,
mistake. He's going to do what the Assamites are going to do, but Caitiff.
He wants to kill all the Caitiff in the world. That's why he offers them asylum, so he can kill them in one fell swoop. He wants to die himself, but also the reason he's collecting all these Caitiff is so that when the antediluvians come back, he can offer them as a great big blood sacrifice, so they'll spare him. I don't think that will work the way he thinks it will. But he's done a real good job, like, with the execution of his stupid plan.
Now, Kyle,
I'm
to my
amused
surprise,
by his foolishness.
he is an idiot, yeah. To my surprise, kineticism, all the stats for it are up on the wiki.
Yes, they are.
This is
just an example of a discipline. There are no known kindred who have access to this discipline. It's just a static example of what a Caitiff could make.
I'm looking at dampening, and I'm already thinking this is really good.
Yeah,
Homebrew.
For making a new discipline, if you are starting the game with a custom discipline, it takes 7 freebie points per dot. It does not.
Yes.
You cannot take it as one of your starting discipline points of the 3 points you start with that character creation.
Yeah.
You have to spend 7 freebie points on it for however many dots you want. And if you're making it outside of that, it takes 10 experience points for the first level and then 10 times your current level for each dot after that. It is not an easy process, and the process is supposed to take months to years. And then in later editions, it is stated that it takes 50 years minimum for, like, the first dot of something. So
I wonder what Samuel Hate's discipline would have been.
Oh God! Don't talk
hopefully
about his dumbass.
self-immolation.
God, that guy's a shit post.
My biggest issue with Samuel Haight, and let's not get off on a tangent here, is everyone says, "Oh, the joke character Samuel Haight," and, like, I'm sorry, no, he wasn't a joke character. Like, by the end, he was, when they were like, "Oh yeah, he gets turned into Ashtray. That's really funny." But, like, he was written completely seriously. This was not some sort of story of, like, here is why splats shouldn't mix. This was a complete power trip, power fantasy by the authors.
It was just fine if you just stuck with mage. If you just left him in either mage or in werewolf books, it would have been fine. But he's everywhere. I had to go to 5 different books for an episode.
And he doesn't even start off as a bad character. He has some interesting parts to his story, but by the end of it, it's just
stupid,
ridiculous, and everything he does is crazy and, like, super self-serving. He has no actual motivations except for power, and those are very boring characters.
Okay,
power towards the ends is great. Power for power's sake is usually pretty boring.
Like, what were you going to do after you diabolized Nurgle? Like, what were you going to try to see if you could become a demon next? Is that it? Is that next step?
He just might.
Or see if, or see if you could call Zerion and become imbued. And we could have a hunter, wraith, changeling, vampire, mage, werewolf.
Oh my god!
Oh my god! Just say, if you can't describe your character in 3 words, you made a bad character.
Hold on.
All right, let's see what we got for relationships.
Carpenter, schizo, stoner. There, I explained Victor.
Excellent.
There it is.
Very well.
Let's see. How did the kid feel about the Assamites?
They don't like them. They don't
No.
like. To be fair, if you ask the character for this book, which I don't like because it gives the idea of, hey, this is how the Caitiff should look at everyone, but it's just this one character's mindset
Yeah.
of how they should treat the other clans, and
Right.
he has a very bad opinion on everyone except for the Giovanni for some reason.
Yeah. Well, you look at the Assamites. They're going to look at the Caitiff. Hey, easy meal, easy food. Behold,
Yeah,
they swoop down on top of you like they're Batman
Sardine.
and Diablos you.
like most Assamites will look at a Caitiff and be like, "You're beneath my notice.
Yeah.
As such, I don't even need to deal with you. But if you upset one, they'll kill you for free."
Yeah. For example, as to what Assamite blood would taste like with what Caitiff blood would taste like to an Assamite. Kyle, what is a dish that you have never seen prepared wrong?
A dish I have
Yeah.
never seen prepared wrong. That's a hard
Yeah.
one.
That
Cheesecake.
there's only one way you can make it, like a steak, for example.
Ramen noodles.
And
I've seen
so,
steaks prepared wrong.
Oh, it's very
Yep.
easy to see a steak prepared wrong. You just have to not pay attention to it.
you'll find out it's
Turkey is
wrong.
Hot
the most
dogs.
easiest fucked up
Uh,
meat.
Hot dogs
so-
I have never once seen made wrong.
So a hot dog, and I'll think about
Fair.
your least favorite hot dog. Where's the place that you said was objectively the worst hot dog? Just
At a campfire.
so so for an Assamite, draining Caitiff blood is like getting a campfire roasted hot dog, and then any other vampire, it is the Nathan's hot dog stand, or you're going to Sonic, and you're getting it custom made. It's made on
You're
a
going
roller.
to Woody's in Fairmont, West Virginia.
Yeah, it's not made from the anus of the donkey, and you can tell it's not like just low quality sausage that you're eating. That's what it
Yes.
tastes like. Where
Oktoberfest bratwurst.
Vérité always tastes delicious no matter what vampire you are, but with the Caitiff, it's just not as good, and it's objectively the worst Vérité you can get.
It's like getting
Mine's a
Stutter home
DMT
as wine.
bunker.
Yeah. So like getting a pizza, and it's Little Caesars. I don't want to eat at Little Caesars, but that's the only place around, so I guess I will.
It is
Shit.
hot
I'm pretty sure
and it is
only
ready.
the Assamites drink enough. Like, I guess in the Sabbat, that's an exception. But only the Assamites drink enough people for that to matter, because like normal human blood is described as being essentially cocaine and heroin all in one, but better. And
There it
then
is.
when they describe the difference between human blood and vampire blood, human blood is a nice, well-vintaged wine, and then vampire blood is the ambrosia of the gods.
Yes.
You can get addicted to vampire vitae off of a single sip. It is so good. So for the Assamites to say, "Oh yeah, those Caitiff over there, I wouldn't even drink them," I was like, "They're lying to you, okay?
Yeah.
They're lying to you. They will drink that person. They're just telling you they won't, so you'll look the other way."
Cap.
It's objectively low quality, but still ambrosia. They
Yeah,
bring
like
up
I'm like, I've never had ambrosia. Like, it's a mythical, non-existent thing. But I'm sorry, if someone offers it to me, I want to take a taste. Okay?
see we got Bali mentioned in this book. So Dr. Gray, can you explain
Yes.
to me where you were talking to Bali? Can you explain to me how you met these guys?
His response is run,
Mm.
run very fast, wear a cross at all times, run
There-
away.
There it
Do
is.
not
Well,
talk to them.
That is their clan bane. It's good that you know that.
Yeah.
what-
How does he know that?
So you want to talk
This
with the
is-
clan?
This is my problem with the character. How does he know that?
I
My
think the
clan
big
bane is a
thing
swasti.
with seeing a Bali, that should tell you that I don't know there's a demon in your area, and you see about either if the Bali's the reason the demon's there, get rid of it. If the Bali's there to get rid of the demon, help it. Don't I don't know.
Generally speaking, if there's
go-
a Bali in the area, I'm probably considering moving cities.
There it is. Kyle, are we still on a no with me playing a Bali in Miami by night?
It's not going to happen.
Son of a bitch.
I'm sorry.
I
I don't
have
know
an
what to
idea.
tell you. That's going to be fucking really hard for me to write into the game.
Just make a
On a
demon.
I have an
Miami
idea for a
by
Ptolemy
night.
Raw Chronicle
Ooh.
that I'm wanting to run. So Bali definitely would be on the table for that, as long as you're willing to play one of the Malachites.
Well, I was going to sell my soul to power for Nurgle, but I can do Moloch. Yeah. All right, let's see.
Well, you could be pretending to be a servant of Moloch.
Beggars can't be choosers.
See, Bruja. This guy's telling it like it is. Fuck the Bruja. No,
Yeah.
you shouldn't like the Bruja. This man's right about that.
I do not trust the Bruja. I do not like the Bruja. That's his statement on it.
You used to be good people, and now you're just a bunch of degenerates. You
So-
watch Destiny, and even after it came out that he fucked Nick Fuentes, you're still going to support him.
Just go.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
This man blew Nick Fuentes in his car.
I regret ever sending you that.
Yeah.
Why would you send Johnny this information?
You said that to me as I was reading the story in real time.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
dear.
Either way,
Yeah.
it was a mistake.
So I
Oof.
already knew this. I was going to find out about this no matter what you did.
Babe,
Alright,
wake up! New Schadenfreude it just dropped.
Followers of Set. Why are you scared about the Setites for?
If you're not going to worship their god with them, they will sacrifice you because Set doesn't care where the Cainite blood comes from.
But Set accepts everybody.
Yeah,
Yes,
and they'll accept you, but if you don't want to worship Set, then you're going to be sacrificed.
Yeah, you do have to do a pretty nasty initiation ritual. You gotta go to one of Puff Daddy's parties.
We have a
And-
lovely quote
Ain't no
about
party
the
like a
Caitiff
Diddy
from
party.
one of the weirdest Setites in lore with Nefertiti. Because there are two different Nefertitis. There's one who says she is the Nefertiti of history. Like she is that person. She's not. She's 6th generation. She was sired like in the 1100s, so the timelines don't really match. And then there's the actual Nefertiti. And both of them have found a way through Setite sorcery to sire animals. It is a very useless skill that they have access to do this because animal vampires are not really useful. But it's something they can do.
Well, hold
But
it's
hey,
the
it's
vampire
cool.
snake.
I mean, I could.
Yeah,
do
they
that,
have made a lot of vampire
kinda.
snakes. The issue with that is they have no ego and no like persona to combat the beast. So they are just the beast. And that doesn't make them monsters because they're animals, but they don't have
Anything
the
going for them.
mental capacity to understand, that rock in the sun looks warm. I like warm things. I'm gonna
Yes.
slither over that to that.
Ah!
Oh god, I'm
Oh
on
my
fire.
God! Ow! Oh my fucking God! Ah!
Exactly. So they're like turning animals into vampires on the surface, like, that's a novel idea. What can you do with that? Turns out, not much.
They say that step away from the Setites or be fed to their pet snakes. How big are these snakes? How big is how big?
Like
how
big as
it
the snake from
depends, like,
Conan the
some,
Barbarian.
Some of them have really old snakes, and animal ghouls do get bigger, than normal. So pretty big.
I want a Norwegian forest cat.
Let's see, we gotta buy the Burmese python and give it blood. See how much it grows. It's the gangrel. The Caitiff have no formal opinion on the gangrel. The Giovanni, the Caitiff have no formal opinion on the gangrel, but neither do the Giovanni. Is that once again the gangrel just exist? They just exist. They're over there on the horizon. They don't ever come around here. Just
It's survival of the fittest.
yeah.
Oh, my precious Michael, I don't care about orphans.
It's the Giovanni.
The Giovanni will hire Caitiff. They're perfectly willing to hire you.
Yes.
The issue is you are going to be doing the dirty work. You better not spill any secrets, and you better do a good job.
See, well, the
That would
Giovanni
make a good
have
character.
The Giovanni have mucho dinero, and I have a lot of New York Italian friends. I'll gladly sign up for some work.
Hey, that's
well.
what I thought.
Here it is.
Like, there are definitely worse lives for a Caitiff than working for the Giovanni. It's just the issue is you're working for the Giovanni.
Yeah, but the Giovanni, you know what you're getting into. The Giovanni are men of their words. You can trust what they're going to tell you.
Which includes killing you.
They're my favorite vampire clan for a reason. That
Fuck yeah.
You don't get any bullshit with the Giovanni.
Johnny,
I mean,
sorry.
What?
You need to run an all Giovanni one shot someday. You need to.
And in the Friday game, they play a central role to it. We just screwed the party over with the Giovanni.
Nice. But like
Lovely.
as the Giovanni doing Giovanni shit. Do it.
There it is. Just the Mafia Simulator, and you made the Mafia Vampire. You had one good idea in your life, Justin, and then everything went to shit. The La Sombra. Why would you ever trust La Sombra?
Because the
Sombra
goth
don't even trust the
baddies.
La Sombra.
Because
Well,
goth nun baddies.
See,
Because horny.
Like Kyle and Ryan, the La Sombra have made it obvious. They tell you that if they can throw you under the if they throw you under the bus and it benefits them, they will do it.
Absolutely, they will.
They'll lie about that. If the minute they can cut ties with the Zamichi and ascend without them, they will do it. They've been waiting to get the Zamichi monkey off their backs for years, for centuries, and they can't find another replacement for it. So, Sylvester Shrek, we're calling on you to replace the Zamichi.
I can absolutely do that.
Come on, we need to cut ties with these fuckers as soon as possible.
Follow the
Let's
Shreks.
go. Fuck yeah,
Kyle, take a while.
cousin.
Kyle, take a while. I guess is what they think about Malkavians. Take a while, guess. You're on the other side of the room.
I'm gonna say they're scary.
They honestly don't mind the Malkavians.
I'm surprised to hear that.
The thing about Caitiff is because there's no curse to anchor their blood. If they spend too much time around another clan, they'll start to pick up the features of that clan. Nothing so much as the actual curse itself, but like when you spend time around crazy,
You're gonna get crazy.
Every time
And
I
it
talk to
has-
Victor, I feel a little bit stupider every time.
Insane in the membrane.
Wow.
He's
Gonna-
insane. He got no brain.
it has one of the most disturbing quotes here. It comes from Bloody Mary,
Yeah.
a Malkavian from San Francisco. So you can,
That's
it's
how you know.
like crazy squared. I like Caitiff. They tend to talk too much, but if you feed them well enough, they can make it good companions. Just don't tell anyone I said that. Did I mention they almost always end up joining our clan?
Yes.
If you know who Bloody Mary is, that is a very chilling statement.
See, the Malkavians accept everybody. They like the Setites, but even better. See, Vampire
Yup.
Masquerade. See, I got Bloody Mary for you. See here.
Oh, you poor innocent child.
Yeah,
Hey,
the-
join me and have my blood. It's a DMT blinker. You like drugs, kid? Well, shit, let me tell you something. I'm gonna make you be paranoid and obsessed every single time when your room is dirty.
So the big thing about her is that she is a Malkavian elder. She's a Malkavian primogen in San Francisco. Meaning at some point in your future game, Kyle, we're going to end up running into her.
Maybe. More than likely.
And
She
she's also the
is
head of
known
one group that know. What?
She is known to eat people.
Yes.
So when she's saying, "Oh, they always end up joining our clan," that's more just in her head.
You're going to invite the boss over for dinner.
She
I'm
might
having a
have
friend for
vor
dinner.
fetish.
See, and
Yes.
she also has a little faction called the Children of Thorns, where
Okay.
let's see here what they do for you. They have a little ceremony called crypt walking, where they take a mirror that will turn it into a portal.
Cool.
Yeah. Imagine all the stuff you can do with that.
Yummers.
It'd be a lot of fun.
Hey.
Yeah.
That's the Tremere stick. You stay
Yeah.
away.
There it is. Well,
Now,
the Malkavians-
I'm gonna
the Malkavians know
plagiarize.
everything. The Malkavians
I'm
know
gonna
everything.
plagiarize. You not
Yes.
gonna do nothing about it.
What else is here? The Nosferatu. If you say anything, they say, quote, "These sick bastards are proud of the way they look. You might think I'm joking, but I'm not. Most of them revel in being as disgusting as possible. I talked to a handful of Caitiff who were sired by the Nosferatu, and in each case they swore their sires tried to kill them when they didn't go through any sort of changes that they went through." He doesn't doubt it. Where, yes, the
Or
Nosferatu
even
don't
if they're
like
not ugly enough.
they don't like it when you're not disgusting. And there was a missing detail when we played Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. You know how many times we talked to Nox over the course of that game, Kyle?
Of which game?
And Vampire the Masquerade through Bloodlines. And Nox was Bertram Tongue's ghoul. Bertram Tongue being a Nosferatu.
Yeah, but Nox is
Oh,
also
yeah, Nox
dumber
was
than
great.
shit.
But Nox didn't ever go through any physical mutations. And I feel like that was a detail that was missing from the game.
Well, it takes
Yeah, I agree.
decades or even centuries for a ghoul to start gaining stuff like that. And
Yeah.
with that, their appearance will never drop below 1 as a ghoul.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things like you're probably not going to get too much uglier if you're a Nosferatu ghoul, at least not in a human's lifetime.
You'll get bags underneath your eyes. Your nose will flatten. Your lips will get fatter. Your chin
You
will
get like
recede.
giant fat buck teeth or some
You'll-
shit.
like that,
Or as
you'll-
I
you'll start-
affectionately refer to them, the upper decker gums.
your spine,
Yes!
shoulder blades will come out of your back. You'll walk over with a hunch.
After a certain
So
point, you have
basically
to be
the
like,
average
sorry,
tweaker.
boss, I need a new source of blood.
Yeah.
Except you don't, because of the blood bond
Those
and
are
the
will take.
implications.
Those are to take care of you, but they really do not like pretty people. If we didn't play as a Toreador, Kyle. If you talked to Gary Golden later in the game as a Toreador, he is not happy that you're in his haven.
Oh
Yeah.
man, he
Yeah.
says some funny shit.
Yeah,
I've not
he's
gotten
one of
that.
the better characters in the
Granted,
game.
I haven't played the game in a minute because I found out it doesn't run on Linux. So
What? Oh yeah, you got to
Does-
get the one in.
There are ways to get it to run on Linux. I know for a fact there are.
if you know of any, please let me
There's
know.
a will, there's a way.
I will find you the resources and provide them. I know for a fact there are ways to run the game on Linux.
With the quality of life mod?
That I'm not sure of.
We you gotta get rid of that because we were trying to exploit the jank in that game and there was no jank left to exploit. And let's see, but the Panders, this Caitiff narrator denies that the Panders exist. This guy's an idiot. All right, moving on.
It's not that he denies it. It's just he's saying that the big distinction between Panders and Caitiff that are described in this book is Caitiff are essentially they're as close to the wild as a vampire is capable of being, with the fact that they're just crazy mutations, like mutations everywhere. And the fact that Joseph Pander has essentially unified the Caitiff of the Sabbat into a pseudo clan has stopped them from doing this. Panders are incapable of making their own disciplines. All the weird stuff that Caitiff have going on with them seems to be very muted and toned down with the Panders. So it's a notable difference. And if you want to join, there are no Caitiff in the Sabbat. They're all Panders. If you want to join them, you can, but it's sort of like a cult.
It's almost like they can really need to buy the allegiance of Joseph Panders, and they can stop worrying about the Caitiff in that case.
Honestly, if they made a good enough deal to Joseph, he'd probably accept it. The Camarilla will never do that. They probably should.
No, you got shitheads like Hardstadt the Younger driving the whole faction to the ground.
He is fundamentally one of the worst characters in Vampire the Masquerade.
That guy's
truly
a piece
awful.
of shit. Let's see. The Ravnos, they like the Ravnos only because the Ravnos don't ever bother them.
Yeah, they don't even bother with
have
themselves.
nothing
Why would
worth
they bother
stealing.
you?
Yeah, you say you like the Ravnos, but have you really dealt with the Ravnos?
I personally, shout out to Denny. We love the Ravnos here. Ravnos are our friends. I just make sure I lock all the cupboards when they're coming to visit.
We're seeing that because he's about to steal my bank account. He's got my routing number. He's got my checking number.
He stole your
already
SSN
has
card.
it,
Yeah. It's what
he
these
already
guys
has
do.
it. This is why I just don't have anything, and then Ravnos can't steal from you.
They steal your money. They sell drugs. Toreador, okay. If you're artistic bent, you got something to get out of the Toreador. If you don't care about art, you're not going to get anything out of the Toreador. And
Or if you like to fuck.
if you like to fuck, well, the Toreador don't spread their legs for anybody. There has to be something desirable about you for the Toreador to come after you.
Oh
That
yeah,
is
that's
true.
right. That's
There
why
it is.
only the Toreador anti-tribute come after me because
Yeah,
I could get freaky like him.
There it is.
Oh my god!
Blow out the microphone with that.
Yeah, he is.
I am.
Let's see what we got. Tremere.
They
It is.
have the absolute perfect opinion of the Tremere. It is
Science experiment.
they are the worst. Do not get near them. Do not be alone with them. They will torture you. They will absolutely use you for experiments. Do not trust the Tremere. Do not trust the Tremere. Do not trust the Tremere.
Of course.
Do not trust the Tremere.
Yeah.
See, I know I like Caitiff.
You fuckers embraced Heinrich Himmler. we got that reason alone not to trust you.
So much research was gained from that. I'm just saying, we don't condone his actions, but the pursuit of thaumaturgical knowledge was very useful.
Pull
You know,
up Boogie
Haas and-
1488.
Please,
You know,
Himmler,
Han-
my
Yeah.
front lines are collapsing. We need help.
All
You
in
know-
benefit of the Camarilla. All in benefit of the Camarilla, okay? So, like,
Victor, what do you think
You know
about
what?
that?
Oh, very morally shady. I was thinking,
What?
no.
what
We
is
lost
it?
Ryan.
We lost
I-
Ryan. Damn it.
I was thinking,
Right.
well, in IRL, Hans Asperger discovered a lot of shit about autism because he did a bunch of experiments on children.
Oh,
Yes.
Jesus.
See, there it is.
Anything
there it
for
is.
science, huh?
Obviously, all of the experiments done on people during World War II, most of that actual information gained was bonk and not super useful to medical science anyway. However, in the World of Darkness, which is a fantasy setting, which is before we have learned more information from back then was declassified, it was going off the idea that some of this information was useful. So, different time between the 90s and now.
Well, yeah, definitely.
Obviously that was bad. No one here thinks it wasn't bad.
Well, no, in a World
oh,
of
yeah,
Darkness
no
standpoint, hey, do you know where most of that fucking info wound up? In the hands of Pentex.
See, can we get a Boogie 1488 on the screen, please?
Yo, you already posted it.
Yeah. Can we get not the one with the gun?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Can I please
I
read their
swear.
opinion
Okay,
of the
never mind.
Zamici? Can I please?
This is Michi, read it off.
Read it.
The Zamici are just a bunch of psychopathic Tremere wannabes out to conquer the world.
Well, that's a scathing insult.
I like the
Stay
away
Zamici
from
better
them.
than the Tremere
Stay away
somehow.
from anyone who knows them. They are other clans in Spot fooled into thinking that all kindred were created equals while simultaneously blood bonding the other clans to them. These guys make the
Fucking cow.
Ventru look like sweethearts.
Yeah.
Opinion after my own heart.
There are no nice Amici out there. There's no
I
nice
mean,
Amici. There's no thing.
There's Vigo Corinth, but he's grey at best.
You see, he was a terrible person, but at least he told you he was.
Yeah, he was honest about it.
Mhm.
I
But
could
then
hire him with
Bacchus
at the
came
very
in.
least.
Yes.
Well, I mean, he
Them-
can't kill Bacchus.
No,
It
wait,
is.
like
He can
Bacchus, like
try. It's not gonna
but-
work.
now
but
that
Bacchus
safety
put
lock
like
is on
wild
him.
shit in him, you know.
I can
Calm them
be the
down.
hype person for any of the vampire clans. I really can. I can speak good things about them all day. The Zamitzi, I will never say anything good about their clan. I will just say, oh yes, all of their lore is really interesting. All their spiritualism is really interesting. Their achievements staggering. The clan itself, monsters.
Well, no, they're
Evil.
absolutely monstrous as far as like a faction goes. I just know the one decent one.
That's
Yeah,
it.
they
Evil.
definitely make good antagonists, and if you're in the spot, they make very good unsettling allies.
Anti-heroes.
Can we get the Zamichi Antiluvian on the screen, please?
No.
Yeah, it's the
There's
grave mine
nothing-
from Halo.
Yeah, there he is. That
There's
is his-
nothing heroic
him.
about them. The best you're getting
One
is an
metal
anti-villain.
and flesh and has his mind concluded, but the other is flesh. And
that is
has
what
his
Zamichi looks
mind
like. That in my mind, that's what he looks like.
I thought of him as more like a complex, like John Carpenter's The Thing, but it slightly resembles a dragon.
Kind of
This
is actually.
Nah, the cathedral flesh is some sort of fungus at this point. So like
Yes.
the
and
grave mine is a pretty good example of it.
He
right
really
there.
is. He's a great villain in Halo too. I love Halo.
We
See-
love the grave mine. We stand the grave mine in this house.
I mean, I
See.
don't, but you know,
Do we,
I
do
just
we
like
stand by
doing the voice
Get
because
out.
it's fun.
Get out. You do a very
No,
good job.
There
I don't
very
like the
much
Ventru. They
are.
pay taxes.
The Venture are essentially the guys that are advocating the complete extinction of the Camarilla. Not the Camarilla. The Caitiff.
Freudian slip. You meant
the
it. You
Venture
meant
said
it.
this is a terrible idea. We should have never made the Camarilla. Fuck this shit. Tear it down. Now it's the Caitiff that they want dead.
I'm sorry.
Where-
I'm sorry.
and
it's so bad.
But they describe the Venture as mouse with a smile. These are guys that are actively plotting your downfall while pretending that they're your best friend. You know, there's like a saying, almost like retail workers, management is never your friend.
Yes.
That's the case with the Camarilla, with the
Yep.
Venture.
They're
Oh yeah,
not your
1000%.
friends. They are going to screw you over at the first possible opportunity. They don't even see you as a useful tool.
Mhm.
And that if you're a useful tool to Aventru, they're going to hold on to you. They're going to keep you. They might throw you away if they have to, but if you're useful to them, they're going to hold you close because tools are meant to be used, and you're not useful to them. They're not going to keep you around.
Is the minute they can kill you and wash their hands of you, they will. There's no friends to be had amongst clans, the Venture. And then they talk a little bit about the factions as a whole, where the Camarilla, they point out, you know, do you see a Caitiff Justicar anywhere? A Caitiff Prince, or a Setite Prince, or a Giovanni Prince? No. You got the 7, and that's it, really. And you have, like, the Zimichi and Losambre and Teluvian, and I'm getting all mixed up. Zimichi and T-Tribute that joined the Camarilla, but do you see them getting promotions? Do you see them in any leadership position? You don't. And if the Camarilla weren't out to kill all the Caitiff, they would never get a promotion like that either. But the Camarilla wants all the Caitiff dead, so you can tell where the Caitiff lie when it comes with the Camarilla. Where just how they see them.
Yeah. And the last thing for the Caitiffs is it goes over the dangers of losing your humanity as a Caitiff.
Yeah.
Because separating yourself from humanity, it gives an example of something that apparently this happens to Caitiff if you just go off into the wild and try and live on your own, which is why I say this is kind of they have something wild going on with them, like actual wild in concept. It's like, and it's best just to read from it. I would not have recognized her at all, except her face was still partially human, and these tattoos from her time before were still visible. Even though the rest of her had sort of merged into a giant snake-like thing. She was a good 10 feet in length, and her arms and legs looked more like what belonged on a tadpole. They were just residual stumps, useless. She had the same almond eyes and the same little pug nose, but her mouth was just a hole filled with little hooks like you see on a leech. She wasn't very strong from the beginning, and being in the wilderness hadn't done much for her. I tried to make her death painless. How long do you think this kindred was on her own to turn into this state?
Couple
long.
100 years.
See, a month.
5 years. This was 5 years that it took for her to devolve into this. That's not very long in vampire terms.
No,
That's
you're considered to be a
that's
child until
scary.
you're 100 years old. And
So yeah, there's something deeply and fundamentally wrong with the Caitiff that requires them more than other vampires to be sheltered by humanity. There's a thing among Panders. A lot of Panders in the Sabbat are still on the path of humanity,
yes.
which is very strange for the Sabbat. And this possibly could be a reason for that, though the Panders don't really have that wild spark to them anymore, so it possibly just isn't an issue for them either.
Because think about that. If you followed a path, where say you followed the path of evil revelations as a Caitiff, and then became one with the beast, what would that look like?
Yeah,
That would be
the
cool.
distinction for paths is the paths are they
How-
are a
how you
substitute
cope.
for
Yeah.
controlling your beast, but
Yeah.
it's not like humanity where you're sheltered from it. You're instead of having your what makes you human hold back the beast, you're just putting a lot of rules and restrictions to stop yourself from falling to the beast. But when it comes to devolution, if you're on any of the paths, you've given up humanity. So for purposes of mechanics, you're at humanity 1.
Yeah.
Um, you just have other things that keep you in check.
Because Rapred is in that Freda game, and he's playing a Lasumber with the Path of Honorable Accord, where you look like a good person, you look like you're lawful, but you're not as good as you say you are. You are firmly in the territory of lawful evil. You're the same kind of mentality as a devil from D&D.
Yeah, there is what is the path that Menelaus is on?
Let's see, Menelaus, that big damn Bruja guy.
Yeah, he's my favorite Bruja. He is on one of the paths, and it is, I think it's of Righteous Accord.
I think it is.
Yeah, he's on one of the paths. It's like where it's you're maintaining you're so old at this point that you're no longer human, so you can't maintain your humanity. So to stop the beast, you decide to be even more human than humans are.
Yeah.
The
Funny how
the
that
wiki
works.
only has his humanity as humanity 10 plus, which is not useful for what I'm looking for.
You got an idea?
So for an example with paths, Victor as a character, I gave him the Western Path of Paradox because
Path of Paradox.
Western Path of Paradox. So
Oh,
he's literally
no.
chaotic fucking neutral. Literally to avoid the beast, he has to literally act on pure impulse to pursue freedom for the sake of fucking freedom. There's something so comedically tragic about that if you really think of it.
You gotta that's what we mean about throwing away humanity, because I think if you're really going to commit to that, I don't know how you could do that without giving yourself something like a full frontal lobotomy, where
I'm not going to say anything else.
it was just a shotgun blast to the head. That's all it was.
Yeah. It was just when I was created as a shovelhead, I got hit in the face, not on the head, but on the face. There's nothing more deeper than that. There's nothing more deeper than that.
My name's Johnny Knoxville, and I want to take a shotgun blast to the face.
well, Johnny Knoxville, can you tell us about the Ronin now, or does Aaron Jenner have another idea about the Caitiff?
No, I don't have anything really else to say about the Caitiff. Anything else that I have to speak on them falls into Thin Blood territory, and we'll talk about that next week.
Yeah, we gotta wait on that. We gotta stew on that. We got to talk about alchemy after that too. The Ronin. Kyle, what's a Ronin?
Wait.
Yes.
What?
Oh, before we segue into that, my buddy Johan has a crackhead theory about the Caitiff.
Yeah, what's the theory?
So, some of the second generation vampires weren't clan, right? They were just kind of their own fellows, like Enoch, right?
Objectively.
Yeah, objectively. So, what if the Caitiff are just a second generation trying to get revenge in some way?
It's Zilla, Enoch, and the Eret's revenge.
Yeah. What if?
There's some sort of like time bomb in the blood set by them.
Yes.
One of the things that the Caitiff say that is highly heretical is, well, Cain didn't have a clan, now did he?
Yeah, well, there it is.
So
Well, that's called piss off the Sabbat.
Technically, we're the clan of Cain.
Yeah.
Because we don't have a clan, and Cain didn't have a clan. So technically, we're closer to Cain than all of you, which makes them no friends among any of the sects at all.
Yeah.
You were seething as a Sabbat.
You can understand why I don't like freaking Dr. Solomon Gray.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's the kind of thing he says with a straight face.
He says this shit. Like it's like Review Tech USA, where you don't realize just how stupid you sound.
Yeah, and I'm like, it's written in such a way that I'm supposed to take this guy seriously, and he's not. No, I refuse. But I think that's it for Caitiff, unless there are any questions or comments.
I think that's it for now.
Oh yeah, definitely. Don't want to make it too long.
Give me the Ronin. I want to know about the Ronin.
So,
Yes.
Since we are indeed talking about the pariahs of the world of darkness and the various societies, a Ronin is what happens when a werewolf is ousted or ousts themselves from the tribe in which they were inaugurated. They've been denied by Garrow society for one reason or another, and this whole narration actually follows a really interesting story about a broken home, about a man named Alec who had to leave his family behind and left a journal full of his experiences as a Ronin to his son, Alec Jr., and he basically explains about where he's been and why he's been gone for so long. And he warns his son of that he is in some great danger, and he's sorry for all that he's done in leaving him behind, but knows that this is the only way that his son will be able to know the truth. So, as for the history of Ronin have been a burden to the Garrows since even before the Impurgium. Legend was the very first Ronin was born in Metis, and, before then, most other werewolves...
The first Metis?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, there we go. Well, that's going to come back and bite somebody's ass.
Yeah, it is. Originally, the Garrow would just kill Metis because, they're, inbred. We'll just kill the child and punish the offending Garrow, and that was that. But, it was seen then as a level of pity to the Metis, knowing that it was deformed and may not survive like other Garrow. However, what they would do is that with that first Metis, they raised him until he was, old enough to survive on his own, and then cast him out afterwards.
Like a good parent.
Yes.
Yes.
And it was that first Ronin. He was drawn to the worm once humans and Garrow had cast him out. That sort of was the progenitor of the Ronin curse. The Ronin are interesting because Garrow, as we all know, are not solitary creatures. They are pack hunters, much like wolves themselves. But the Ronins are forced to be lone wolves. The only reason a wolf will wander out on their own, and we actually talked about this a bit during the Red Talon episode, was if they're on their deathbed, which means that the Ronin live a very solitary and very lonesome existence. Not just on the physical form, not only will Garrow refuse to speak to them, but also their human kinfolk will be put at risk. Other humans will be uneasy around them. Even other wolves, lupus wolves, will feel uneasy around a Ronin because of a sort of spiritual brand that is put on them, a Ronin curse, if you will. And thus, because they are subjected to such a solitary life, become easy targets for worm corruption. Of course, at this point in time, it seems that there's been no shortage of Ronin, and they seem to be growing more. They seem to be growing more numerous as younger Garrow have expressed dissatisfaction with the elders of Garrow society, and ostracism has since then been seen as a universally accepted punishment amongst Garrow. Of course, temporary banishment is far more potent lesson than indefinite banishment, but that's not going to stop some of the worst offenders. For the narrator of the book, Alex Sr. himself, it said that he was trying to convince the elders that the Garrow needed to change and that the veil needed to be breached in certain areas in order to get humans to understand their ways. And for that, he was ostracized from his tribe.
Yes.
As for the culture, we all know that Garrow is caste and tribal, and because of this, being outcast from such a tribal system makes you a leper, basically. No Garrow will speak to you, they won't help you, they won't associate with you, you will have no pack to help you, and you will have no spirits to help you either. The longer you stay without a tribe, the more difficult it is for you to even remember how to be a Garrow. Like, the book even actually goes into detail about how, you'll have further and further difficulty stepping sideways into the Umbra. Some have even forgotten how to shift into a Cronus form. which makes being a Ronin even more dangerous.
Yeah, that ain't good.
Yep. The only ones who can talk to Garrow are other Ronin and Sept Warders. The only exceptions to this rule so far have been Stargazers and very, very occasionally a Silent Strider. But at least those two still have cairns to go back to, and they can separate from a pack for seemingly long periods of time without going entirely crazy. The Ronin, however, without pack, tribe, or honor, are at a very, very slim chance for survival. The forgiveness would have to be earned by their elders in one way or another. But the most pressing part about this is if a Garrow has a deed name, once they become Ronin, they will lose their deed name, which means they learn all of their honor, all their gifts, all their renown. All of that is gone. They basically just get reset back to 0, and you cannot move up from that unless you plead forgiveness and then do something to earn their trust. Most of these, whenever they're referred to by Garrow, they have a suffix called the lurf, which is Lurf, which they will add to your deed name. Lurf is a Garrow suffix meaning without honor.
I see.
There are many ways.
And
Yes, go ahead.
even if you are able to gain forgiveness, you don't get your deed name back. You will get a new deed name based on your actions after that point. So it really is restarting from 0.
It is. It very much is.
Mm-hmm.
Like what happened to Wrath of the Storm, and then he rejoined the Bonars.
Yeah.
The first thing Chico did was make him do bitch work.
Mm-hmm. And you gotta go through this shit all over again, where with him improving on the spot, that's not that far away from what the Bonars make you do in this book.
Basically, it's like, hey, you fucked up with, every other tribe, and now you're crawling to us after years of talking mad shit. Well, then you're doing the bitch work for us.
After you scrub
Yeah,
all the
pretty
full
much.
power rule, then we can talk about mercy.
Yep. There are many ways for a Garrow to become an outcast. Some will fail to meet the standards of their packs. Some defy their leaders. Some break the litany like the narrator themselves. Some even choose to become outcasts, which makes me start to think about, because I was thinking about this a little bit, and we know from the Pentex episode that the CEO of Tellus is not a spiral. He is, in fact, a fallen glasswalker. So more than likely, he definitely could have been just a glasswalker that became a Ronin and decided to ally with the worm, which seems to be a very, very common case amongst Ronin, as the theme goes. Although some of them even will believe it's the antiquated beliefs in the tribal system of the Garrow themselves that do not match their own belief, and some are forced to leave because they don't adhere to the strict rules. Garrow demand pack loyalty, but with the overreaching spread of the worm, a lot of cubs are raised in broken homes, and the new knowledge of the Garrow will lead to a very volatile state in which they would almost immediately be put somewhere where they're not and leave on their own accord. Although it is also common for Garrow to be punished for political reasons as well. That is actually what the narrator claims it has been, why he himself has become a Ronin. As far as other Garrow helping them, the penalties for helping a Ronin are low, but there is a steep cost to renown for doing so. But back into self-exile, there are other instances in which even in which Hirano can be a reason for a werewolf to leave. They do sacrifice rank and renown, but they are allowed to keep their deed name, so they aren't entirely reset to 0, but they lose a lot of what they had. Some tribes will actually differentiate between a disowned Ronin and a Ronin by Hirano. The Hirano exiles are actually referred to as please don't
Sad
start
boys.
singing Steppenwolf, which actually translates directly to wolf of the steppe or lone wolf. Some Garrow do not condone the beliefs of that tribe, and some Ronin who exile themselves just kill humans just because. And some who are desperate will even find another tribe to enter. As the narrator of the book says, because he was talking about breaking the litany and lifting the veil, he went to join the children of Gaia, and he speaks about that a couple of times in this passage. A lot of Ronin seem to have an idea that tribalism itself just doesn't seem to work for them.
What?
That's what they say in the book.
What?
What do you mean?
This guy's full
What?
of shit.
The,
Tribalism's fine.
I
the
guess.
Garu's need for companionship, even if it's not among other Garu, is just. The starting story for this book is about a relationship between a Caitiff and a Ronin, a werewolf, and
Yep.
Yeah, that'll get you fired from the Nigger Nation.
it's very well, they were already Ronin, but
Yes.
it's a very well written story, which is part of my issue with the Caitiff part of the book is that everything else in this book is so well written, it's so well done,
Mhm.
and it's actually like to a degree emotional in the first story, and then the Caitiff chapter I just
Lose
is-
He
interest.
just
And-
giggled.
and-
something.
and same
Like-
thing- with the Ronin portion of the book, there's no bullshit, there's no fluff in this. Everything here is just objective information that's useful in all of your games.
And you, to be fair, you need this like because it goes into a lot of detail for the Ronin.
Mhm.
Yeah, it does. There's a lot on the Ronin.
Which is
Like
good.
it,
Because who likes to
yes,
kill
it's-
Ronin?
Everybody.
Skin
Pentex.
dancers.
Oh damn.
Skin dancers, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, those fuckers.
no,
We
no one's
can't
gonna
get-
care if the Ronin goes missing.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
Samuel Hayes and his band of weirdos are going to steal your skin right off your back and use it to turn themselves into a werewolf.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of scuffed. They do actually get into that a bit at the back end of this,
Mhm.
but somehow they aren't wormish. I don't understand how that works. They're definitely do
Yeah.
wormish things, but they've killed black spirals with some frequency.
Mhm.
So very weird how that works.
It's that the reason why Ends the Road in our Appalachia game is still a Wendigo and not a Ronin is because she still has loyalty to the Nunavut Nation and she's still devoted to helping them out.
Yeah.
Now she's warned for international terrorism and there's no way she's going to be allowed back into Canada with her name plastered all over television. So for the time being, she's just stuck in America and probably will never get invited back in. You still hop out the Wendigo, but you gotta do so as far away from the Wendigo as possible.
Well, I mean,
Man,
yeah.
I really need to catch up on Ridgecross Appalachia.
Yes, that's the first episode.
It's a very fun campaign.
I don't remember international terrorism in the first episode.
Well,
So-
no, it
It's
was a part of
mentioned.
Ends the Road's intro, but we didn't
Yeah.
actually. I didn't actually go into detail about that.
And nor have we done a flashback as to what that looked like.
No, but I'm
And-
thinking at some
I'm
point I will.
thinking the C word. I'm thinking of C word shooting.
And there it is. And
No, it's
Let's
not
see.
that.
so,
Okay, good.
so Tyler Bassett, what would get you to quit the Fianna?
Well, I've been tempted, but at the same time, well, I like the liquor. I think the only thing that would get me to quit is if the Black Furies offered me a better deal. But they might.
And with a lot of these vampire werewolf clans, you have to especially fuck up if you're going to get kicked out of some of these. Because
Yes.
how many mistakes can you make with Bonars and Children of Gaia and still be in the tribe? Just
Billion.
Yeah, that's the hard part.
lenient they are. The only clans that are going to be quick to kick you out are going to be the Gev Fenris, the Shadow Lords, and the not Sunstriders,
The
Silver
Wendigo.
Fangs.
The
Yeah.
Wendigo actually are kind of strict about that.
Yeah, the Wendigo, because if you go against the interest of the Nunavut Nation, you're out of there. But the Wendigo are so devout to Nunavut that very rarely will you ever get a Ronin out of the Wendigo.
Yes.
And I could see that happening with the Black Furies if you all of a sudden take the red pill and go against feminism, or Or with the glass workers, we say, "Hey, this new update that we did on our software kind of sucks," and then it pisses off enough glass workers.
Yep, that's about
Then you
right.
could just join the technocracy.
Yeah, that's what Eden's thinking about doing, and he's going to get kicked out of the glass workers for it, and he's going to be abducted by the progenitors.
Yeah,
You're
and
gonna-
then experimented on brutally.
You're going to drill out his brain and replace it with a computer.
Beep boop bop. Me need to suck cock.
Beep boop, fuck the flesh people.
I haven't got my wee wee sucked in a few months.
I just imagine some poor Black Fury who's just like, guys, I actually looked into the data. Like, they're like wage gap is just it's just caused by different choices that people make. It's not
The
any
fuck
systemic
did you just
oppression.
say?
No, it's the patriarchy.
The
It's the
fuck did you
patriarchy.
get the
It's the
fuck out of this
patriarchy. Get the
group?
fuck out of here. It's the patriarchy.
You
Yeah, it's the
fucking
fucking patriarchy. It's the motherfucking patriarchy. Yeah, you stupid son of a bitch. Yeah.
This was the
Now they're a Ronin.
yeah. That's
Now they're a Ronin.
that's about the size of that.
Kyle,
Jesus.
how do you get back into it? Well, no. Well, I know we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves because the Ronin, it's going to take you a long time before you're allowed back into a clan,
Yes.
into a tribe. But do they still get access to cairns and seps?
No. Absolutely not.
Not without paying them a hefty sum first.
Yes, you have to pay somebody, or you have to fucking beg an elder to do it. There's a couple of ways that you can get by, and we can talk a little bit about that. So for learning gifts and trying to improve your status, you can't really go to a cairn, to an elder, and ask for your rank to be increased because, well, you're not a Garrow in their eyes.
That's just not how it works.
No. So what you would have to do is you could take the gift Spirit Speak and then try to get the gifts yourself, or you can try and contract a theurge that might be able to help you with the sacrifice of renown for a very, very hefty, favor done in return, either monetarily or spiritually, or just doing some of their grunt work. In all honesty, one of the ways that Ronin best make a living are called being hyenas, which is mercenary work and bounty hunting. They'll barter with
Suicide Squad.
What?
Essentially, Suicide Squad.
Basically, they'll barter with
Yeah.
seps in exchange for gifts. But most tribes do not employ these regularly, as they prefer to seek the renown for themselves. Most fond of all of them of this method are shadow lords of hiring hyenas in order to do their own dirty work. Plausible deniability is very important when you lie, cheat, and steal everything you look at. So trying to improve your status as a Ronin is extremely difficult, with very little chance for you to regain Gnosis, very little chance for you to pick up new spirits, and the very real chance that the worm might slip in a bane whenever you're trying to get a spirit. And next thing you know, you're thinking, oh, well, I just need this one gift. How hard could it be? Next thing you know, you're negotiating with a worm spirit and you've sold your soul to the worm. Congratulations, you're dancing the spiral in 3 months. Good luck.
Well, hold you, idiot. You're so desperate for gifts when, I don't know, you're quickly finding out with the werewolf meta, you just crank the shit out of your attributes, and then that's it.
Yeah, basically.
That's all I gotta do. You've got everyone else in this pack struggling with gifts, and then Ends Road's whole playbook is, I woke up, I punch you, that's it.
Yeah, that is true.
That tree trunk arms.
Unless,
I
of course,
thought
the
of-
thing is really fucking far away or really fucking big.
There it is. That's why like having a gun with a werewolf is still a good thing.
Yes.
And
All right.
checking out what
Of course, there is a way to get... What's up?
Oh no, sorry.
Alright.
I was just gonna make the comment. I'm so glad she never squared up against Ryan. I don't think he could have taken a hit.
No, she did. I mean, he put up a valiant effort, but got
11 dice of damage, Intergener.
Yeah, I don't think Mr. Klein could take that hit.
Nope.
No.
What was?
So if you're going to use a cairn from one of these werewolves, you gotta scratch their nuts first before they scratch yours.
Basically.
And there's an entire page that you've got an entire page in here. It's page 52 of the Pariahs book, You've got examples of what you're supposed to do with each tribe if you're going to be allowed to use their stuff.
Yes, the Shiminage. So,
Uh,
I'll go through these.
Or just tribute.
Yeah. I can go through these one at a time if you'd like, unless there is indeed a.
You want to take turns on this?
Sure. I'll start with the
Alright.
Bone Nars. The Nars require that any Ronin who would make a request of these elders perform 5 hours of community service. This normally translates into picking up garbage and keeping their flocks safe from other predatory humans. In those rare septs where the Bone Nars do permit a Ronin to use the cairn, the price is normally closer to 20 hours of service or enough food to feed the local homeless shelter for one night.
Essentially a misdemeanor criminal charge.
Yep.
Yep.
Basically.
Yeah, that's what that is.
Hey, you fucked up, but you know what? We need help, so you help us, we'll help you.
I signed down to do 5 hours of work. I only did 2 hours. I still get the 5 hours that you asked for. And that's
Oh,
how
they
it works.
did. He did 5 hours worth of work in 2 hours.
Yeah,
Bring some
if you
food
could
to feed the shelter, and then you're off the hook.
If you could sign this paper saying I did this work.
Yeah, basically.
Thank you very much. You just have to work for them for free, and then you get something out of it. And I wonder if they allow you to take a smoke break, or like there's like a small meal period involved.
They'll probably give you a smoke break and half a Pop-Tart.
See, what kind of household is this where the parents don't smoke but the children smoke? Black Furies.
Yeah.
The Furies will not help any male Geru. We'll go figure. Female Geru must make formal requests and sometimes required to meet a member of the Furies in ritual combat. Good luck. The few septs that do allow Ronin to use their cairns demand a heavy price, usually a fetish, or evoke a promise that the Ronin will defend all females, save those from the worm's embrace, from harm. Well, that rules out just about every character in our Ridge Cross New York game.
Except Elmira.
Yeah, well, she's already a Black Fury Bonar.
Well, yeah, but
she double dips between the two.
she kind of does. But you know what? It's all good.
So yeah.
Elmira's a sweetheart.
The fuck was that?
Ed, and your mic just fucked up.
What
The
was
Weaver.
that?
It comes
What?
for us all.
He's
Ed, and your
dementing
mic's
us,
busted.
I can hear it.
What the fuck were you guys talking about? Fuck, my
Unplug the
microphone
mic.
fucked up. Shit.
Unplug the mic and plug it back in.
My God, what was that? We gotta
His
find out how
mic
to
just
do it on
died.
command. We gotta find out how to do it on command.
The Weaver.
Alright,
All
All right, Children of Gaia. So,
Children of Gaia.
the children require that a Ronin state the full list of offenses that cause his banishment from his tribe, and many will ask questions about what the Garo has learned in his time as an outcast. The few septs that allow a Ronin to use their cairn will normally spend several hours trying to convince the Ronin to return to their own sept and tribe before allowing the cairn's use. Nature's little social workers are always trying to help you, even if you don't want the help. But they do make certain you know there's a price, just like all the others do. Once again, very ambiguous, this one here. It's basically like very passive-aggressive
Is it
how they do
normal
it.
now?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, dude, I'm sorry that happened. I don't even know what the fuck happened. I heard like a little tap sound when my monitor like turned black, and I didn't know it like fucked up my audio.
That was such a
Yes,
spooky
that was
audio glitch,
weird.
too.
I'm sorry.
It
I
was
didn't mean
glorious.
to.
We gotta find out how
I
to do that
didn't mean
again.
to. I didn't mean to dementia that time. I swear, Mr. Depp.
So-
It was unplanned.
So you can see just how easy it is to get back into the Children of Gaia.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'll
Yeah,
be
the
quiet.
Children of Gaia just don't
all
say no to anybody.
No, they don't.
Well,
Yeah.
that's their whole shtick,
Yeah.
to be fair.
There it is. This is why you have so many different Black Spell Dancer spies amongst your clan.
Bro, I always get weed from the COG. They make the best weed. High CBD, really good shit.
Yeah, that's probably true.
With the Fianna. You sing a song. You gotta sing a song about the Fianna. You gotta say it's gotta be a good song. If the song is good, if the lyrics are good, you're given a favor.
I
That-
don't want to go back to the Fianna. They
that's-
hate me. I'm an
Yeah, that is.
abomination of God.
Is that Forrest Gump?
No, that's
Yeah,
his other character,
Duncan.
Duncan.
They hated me. They abused me. My only crime is that I exist. Ah,
See,
me angry.
Get a Fenris.
Yes.
Dude, I'm making Johnny just die here.
Ooh, kill him.
The get
Kill
Fenris
him.
require that all Ronin to meet the get champion in battle. So to draw the logical conclusion here, you don't get shit from the get Fenris because that get Fenris champion is just going to beat your ass. But if the fight was entertaining enough, you pay the get Fenris to just beat the shit out of you, and then they might do something for you. That's what you get with
What
the
if
get.
you do win? That's the thing.
This
like,
is-
you know,
But
this
there's
right
you're not
here is-
gonna win. You're not gonna win that fight. That's a get
You
Fenris
could be
champion.
from the Get Fenris
This is
originally.
me
hear
getting.
no
This is
bell.
me trying to get into the Get a Fenris Karen as a Ronin.
You trying to win that fight without Might of Thor?
I didn't
that
hear
def-
no bell.
Here, that fucking get Fenris. Then who's to say that get Fenris isn't going to use weapons too? He's just going to bash your teeth out with the Jarl hammer. These guys going. So yeah,
You,
you
didn't need to
pay.
be crafty and you need to be cunning and brutal because they're
There's
brutal and
no
cunning.
smart get. You hit
Oh,
you hit the
me
nail
dumb,
on the head
me
with a hammer. That's
smash.
what you do.
Well, there is, Loki himself.
There it is. And there's that, and that's it.
Yeah.
See,
So, the Glasswalkers.
the
The
culture.
Ronin must make an appointment to meet with the tribal elders. Use of a cairn requires a talon or something of equal value, such as high-tech secrets or insider trading information if it proves accurate.
Thank you for calling the services of the Glasswalkers. If you wish to make an appointment with us, press 1. To schedule an appointment for the future, press 2. To check on your current appointment status, please press 3. For all other options, please press 4.
Basically, yes.
Yeah, that's what you get with the Glasswalkers.
This one paragraph makes me love the Glasswalkers so much more. It's so corporate. I love it.
I mean, they
So-
have a whole camp called the Corporate Wolves. I don't know what you expect.
And like, Cockroach refers to himself
My
as the
werewolf
CEO.
knowledge is lacking.
See,
I mean,
we
I
got-
do-
I don't
like.
know
I
about
think
the
Johnny and I
camps.
were talking about this a little while ago because, like, I always consider myself Fianna from my heritage, and Johnny thought he was a Glasswalker. But now I work in tech, and I'm like, shit. Now I'm a random interrupt. Fuck me.
and then I'm a bunner
I'm
because
just
I'm
saying,
eating expired burritos from Circle K.
You're a fucking
when
wager.
Tremere start talking about camps, people get really nervous. So
Yeah.
not something
Oh,
I
wonder
really know
why
a lot
that
about.
is.
Hey,
let's-
Tremere, tell me, what is the science of shoving a banana up my ass?
Fucking hell.
God damn
You're
it.
homosexual, that's what it is. I hate to tell you, buddy.
No. I'm not gay. I have relationships with women
The
and sex with men.
it's the not gay butt. It's the red talons. It's
Okay.
the same as the Get Fenris, but this time the red talon is more liable to kill you than the Get Fenris is. The Get
What if
Fenris will
you're
just beat
Lupus Ronin?
the Get Fenris will just beat the shit out of you and then just deny you the service. If you manage to survive the red talons pulling out your lungs and throwing them back into your own throat, then you'll get a favor from them. But yeah, if you're a human, they just immediately kill you. Just no, don't even. Why did you even approach the red talons as a Hamid? Why'd you even do that? And with the
Because
metas,
you're dumb.
with a metas, it's like a 4 out of 5 chance they're going to kill you. With a lupus, maybe. But if you manage to do a good job as a lupus, and you come back to the red talons, depending on how well you did, they might invite you into the red talons, just outright.
Ooh.
Cool.
Yeah, so there it is. Because after all, the red talons are always looking to fluff up their numbers.
Well, yeah, because they refuse to change, but you know,
Yeah,
they're
face the
dumb
population
like
bomb as
that.
well.
Anyway, so
Same thing too. If you get kicked out of the red talons too, the whelp's compromise is allowed to be a thing in the red talons. You had to have fucked up if you're all the red talons.
yeah, definitely. Shadow Lords. So, the Shadow Lords require Ronin to remove all his weapons and personal items before meeting with the tribal elders. In cases where the Ronin wishes to use the cairn, serious shimonage is required. The price varies, but it often can be as high as a fetish or request on behalf of the Shadow Lords. Service normally requires secrecy and a good trigger finger if you follow any meaning.
They send you off on a suicide mission.
Basically,
what they do.
yes.
There it is. They don't intend for you to come back from that either.
Either you sling a crack rock or you got a wicked jump shot.
The Silent Striders will always meet with the Ronin who wishes to speak with the Elders. That so basically, a Silent Strider intercepts you when it comes to just about any of these, and then they pass the message along. But if you want to deal with Silent Striders, well, the Ronin must recite their own personal history, what she has seen and experienced, and whom she has met. And if the story is good, if you come across as trustworthy, if you're just like a guy that you're not a bad guy, you just made some bad decisions, they'll let you use the Cairn. The whole 2 Cairns that the Silent Striders have. You're not going to go to a Silent Strider if you're a Ronin. You're not doing that.
I might.
You're not doing that. You're not doing that.
I don't know.
I've
I like
roamed
the Silent
far.
Striders, but you know.
Yeah, but they don't have any.
I've roamed far and traveled wide. Please
Yeah.
let me into your cairn for a
We
while.
got one over here in Morocco, and then the other one is all the way down in Australia.
Yeah, close enough.
You traveled very far to be here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Silver Fangs.
I
Yes.
walked.
Silver Fangs demand a promise of fealty from Ronin who wish to meet with their tribal elders. A sacrifice is needed in order to gain use of the cairn. What kind of sacrifice? That depends on who you're asking. I've heard everything from lopping off one of your own claws to bringing back the head of a femur. I don't believe that last one, because with some femur, you'd never be able to tell if it was really dead.
If it's a femur with multiple heads, you're in luck.
Basically, like, you know, you gotta give them something. That's it.
With the stargazers, they give you a riddle. If you solve the riddle, you get to use the Cairn. Bombs away. That's as simple as it is.
But the
Hope you have
riddle's
points in
hard as
enigmas.
shit.
Yeah. Let's hope you got 5 points in Enigmas to solve that roll.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uktena. The sharing of stories in sacred smoke is enough to allow Ronin to speak with the tribal elders. Use of
Sacred smoke in quotations.
There aren't any, but we all know what they mean. Use of the cairn is only permitted after 3 days of fasting and very heavy sheminage.
How do you say this word?
Sheminage?
See, I'm pulling this up right now.
I don't know. Ranging
Let's
from a
see.
fetish to a perilous quest. Many are asked to perform special rituals or even leave behind a token of their presence, such as a severed claw or hank of fur. Or it says hank of fur. It should be a hunk of fur, I guess.
No, it's a
Basic-
typo.
Yeah, let's go.
Fucking type. Hey, my name's Hank, and I'm a ball of fur.
See, cheminage. That's how you say this word.
Sheminage, okay.
Okay. Alright.
Wendigo.
A Wendigo does not meet with anyone who isn't one of them. And
yeah.
you want to Karen not fuck you. You're not using the Karen in the story.
It's a barrel of fun.
There it is. You see, the Wendigo just tell you straight up they're not going to help you. They're not going to throw you through a loop like the Red Talons would. There it is.
Yep. Very
Yeah.
simple. So, as far as it goes with the Ronin, they have been finding a new way to try and stay alive in this era. And well, first of all, there have been rumors that a Ronin cairn has been founded. It's called the Cranberry Cairn, but there isn't a whole lot more information about it. As far as, finding more gifts, it'll behoove you with whatever experience you have left to learn the gift spirit speech. Though it is one of the most carefully guarded gifts of the Theurge, so it'll be at a heavy price in order to get to it. But like I said, the risk is still very, very prominent of you being corrupted from doing so. However, another recent development is the foundation of something called prides. Ronins, in order to stave off the loneliness, have begun to gather together. The Gara refer to them as Shanes, as in a shame of Ronin, but the Ronins call themselves prides. They first started appearing in the southwestern United States and gathered over large areas. Most of them have been formed in areas adjacent to one another, sort of rippling out like waves. There are, and in all honesty, the Garo are getting kind of scared of them from them just sort of appearing all over the place. But, I guess maybe if you actually learned about what the fuck they were being kicked out for, then maybe
the hand's biting back with this one.
Yes, absolutely.
Can't
However,
live through
they're
bullshit too much longer.
yeah, there is also the fear that the Black Spirals will seize the Ronin packs and bring them over to the Worm, and the Worm's already rather powerful. Having Ronin would make it even more so, because they wouldn't be blighted the same way, unless, of course, they were forced to dance the spiral beforehand. And it's at this point in the book in which the narrator remarks that the children of Gaia have, they have refused his, proposal to join them, and the narrator is terrified of it. Peppered throughout the book are small passages of how he said that he is woken up covered in blood on a number of occasions. The first time it didn't smell of human blood. Later on down the line, it did. And then further still, he had done so, and, it even says after that he's been rejected by the children of Gaia, I cannot put into words how bitter I am. Last night I awoke covered in blood. I am terrified. Have I fallen into the worm? Have I lost all connection to that which is human within me? I do not know how many more of these strange episodes I can endure. My life has become a meaningless flurry of days and nights. Only this journal keeps me from slitting my own throat. Well, that and the natural fear of what lays beyond that final barrier between this world and the next. I'm afraid to die. I'm afraid to leave.
Fucker, you're paraphrasing Hamlet.
That's in the fucking book. It's on page 55.
No, that's what the book is, that you're taking lines from Hamlet.
Well, he is. Yeah. And also, further still, he did also mention that, more distressing was that he would wake up with blood on his hands and his stomach was full as well.
Yeah.
So he gave somebody the ends the road treatment in that regard.
Yeah. And that man was delicious, too. I don't regret my actions.
Oof.
I did what I did because I could. I could get away with it. And there's a fun table in this book, too. If you look, see which page number is this? Page, what was this, 68? I believe it's 68. 61, actually. 61. Optional trait, corruption. Thank you for listening this out. Because minimum wrongdoing for corruption rolls is similar to the sins with Vampire the Masquerade and on the paths. What you do with this, if you do one of these, you then make a roll on that corruption table being the difficulty of the roll you make. If you fail that roll, you get worm corruption.
Yes. So
That's
I
what
should
you
have been
get.
doing this before.
Damn.
Yeah, you could have been doing that. So yeah, Kyle, now that you see that, keep that table.
Oh, I'm definitely
This is-
going to, and I'm going to use it on you all of the fucking time.
Yeah, some of the worm powers are kind of cool, actually.
They are, but also it puts the entire pack at risk.
You see, I'm going at this with the mindset of an Iron Warrior. I don't serve the worm serves me. Yeah.
Yeah, as if that's gonna fucking work.
You're kind
I'll
of
get the
fucking
better-
stupid,
I'm going to get the better out. I'm going to get the better pro of this deal. I'm not selling my soul away for that shit.
dumbass.
So there it is. So what was it? Cannibalism, which is what Against the Road did by eating that heart. That would have been difficulty 8 on a willpower roll.
It says eating the
None
flesh
of another Garrow.
Garu.
See, well,
Yeah,
if it's a person?
eating
Yours
the
would have been
flesh
a
of
difficulty
a-
2, so very
Yeah.
slight.
See, difficulty of a litiny. So it is. Well, actually, I would have been just fine.
Yeah, you probably would have.
Well,
So
Yeah,
you
it
still
is.
I'm
roll
going to make you
difficulty
roll
2.
for
You
it.
could still technically fail.
Yeah. There it is. Purposely breaking the litany. Well, the litany is kind of stupid. I just do what I want when I want to.
Bruh.
Hey,
Yeah.
it is the ties that bind us. It is
Yeah.
the laws that we follow.
Time,
to-
mine. I got nothing left to lose. What else we got in there?
Gun.
So, yeah, see-
Purposely breaking the litany.
Yeah, this is one of the most important tables in all of Werewolf the Apocalypse, and it's in this book. Werewolf information is so spread out amongst so many books.
It is a little bullshit.
Yeah, it is one of the. I love this game. It is my favorite game in the World of Darkness, but it is objectively the worst because of just how many books you need to have if you're going to run Werewolf.
Yeah.
Until 20th anniversary came out. But I 20th anniversary, it's good, but I prefer this. We made 3.5 off the back of this. All right.
Not bad.
You want to talk about a handful of gifts? You want to talk about all the level 1 gifts you can get, and eventually it becomes 2 and 3 after you grind like a motherfucker for renown?
Sure.
Because
I guess.
see, you want me to let me read off to you. Nah, actually, fuck these gifts. Let's read the skin dancer gifts. Let's read those.
Yeah, those are kind of fucky.
Let's see, you want to see past the skin? A girl who uses this gift may detect a skin dancer from the mystical marks faintly present on her fur, resembling scars or stitch marks. The gift is used by
Ew.
skin dancers to detect if one of their own. The tribes do not know of this gift. You need to fucking learn this gift. The Guru rolls Gnosis, difficulty 6, easy schmeezy. Once you pass the roll, you know if a guy's a skin dancer. And Mask Taint, where I think just by me reading that off, I think you know what that gift does.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
But there's one in here that's pretty interesting to me, and that is Elude the Posse, difficulty 3. The Guru using this gift is transported to another location through the Umbra, no less than 10 miles from your original location. However, she cannot necessarily control where she arrives. This is taught by a wild spirit. You roll wits in the cult, difficulty 7, and depending on how many successes you get, depends on where you end up. 1, it's a destination that the storyteller chooses. 3, you can choose a city or the wilderness. It just needs to be within 10 miles of you. 5, you have complete control over the destination. A botch, you are caught sideways. Behold, you're stuck in the weaver webs, waiting for the schmuck who's chasing you to come up to you with that silver knife and stab you.
So, like, even if somebody taps you, assume that doesn't apply?
Yep. Nope, you ain't getting out of this one. You're stuck, and you have to break your way out of this out of the net yourself.
That's kind of rough.
Yep, forever long you may be stuck. It's stepping sideways, but with the whole chance time element to it. After all, well, if you get 1 success or 2 successes, then I can say, yes, you use this gift, and then you teleport 10 feet. Congratulations. Thank you for your Gnosis point.
Yep.
All right.
That
well,
is what is referred to in the tabletop community as a prick move.
Let's see. You also have on page 63, finally in writing, we have the Rite of Sacred Rebirth, where I do want to do an individual episode on the skin dancers. Do you want to read this now, or do you want to read this later?
Is that a guy or a girl? Because if that's a guy, I can put that
that's
on.
a dude.
Okay, cool. I can put that on the screen then.
Yeah, it's a dude.
Yeah, so I will actually read this. So this is a level 5 mystical rite. This rite allows the caster to become a Garrow, but only after successfully gathering the skins of 5 Garrow. Each of these skins must be prepared using an ointment made of very rare herbs and minerals, and each must be taken under the same moon stage. This ritual can take an incredible amount of time to prepare, and the pelts of the Garrow must be constantly preserved under the same moon sign they were killed under. The pelts may be years apart, so long as they are always preserved in the proper way. The final ceremony must again come under the same moon stage, and must be completed in under 1 hour. The caster rolls wits and rituals against a difficulty 9. Only 1 success is required. At the end of the ceremony, the skins of the 5 victims will merge into the caster, forever becoming a part of the caster's body. There is no known reversal for this ritual. When completed, the caster will be Garrow. He will be tainted by the worm at Corruption 7, unless the Garrow willingly gives part of their skins for him.
So there we go. Yeah.
This
Yeah.
raises 2 major questions for me here.
Yeah, ask him.
The first one is, how absolutely staggeringly amazing of a kinfolk do you have to not have 1 but 5 different Garu be willing to provide their skins for you to become one?
You have to have fucking
'cause
busted
that's-
manipulation.
Yeah.
But not just manipulation. There's no talking in the world that's going to get that done. Like, obviously, these are people who are going to be dying anyway, kind of situation. But even then, you have been like, yeah, this guy, he went off on his own. He took out an entire Pentex black site on his own. He's just a guy. Yeah. And he did it with just his thumb. I'm like, all right, okay. Okay, I'm on board with this. We need to make this guy one of us.
Or you can do what
Second of
Samuel.
all,
You can do what Samuel Haight did, and you can just attack the Valkenburg Foundation. You could just do that.
now
Yeah.
the secondary aspect of this is what are the limitations here of the ritual? Because I see this, and I see this rife for abuse.
Because if you're talking about Werewolf the Apocalypse, it's one guy making one roll. If you're talking Mage the Ascension, it's your entire damn coterie doing an extended roll. Because of how ritual magic works in
Here's the
Mage.
thing: since you only need one success,
Yeah.
willpower roll. Like if you spend a willpower, your willpower that you spent cannot be canceled out with ones. So say you
Yes.
have 5 dice for this roll, and they're all ones, and you spent 1 willpower, you still succeeded on this. So
Yeah.
like, and if you've spent years preparing for this ritual,
Mhm.
you better spend a willpower on this. Dang it!
Yeah, you spent 20 years collecting all these pelts just to fuck it up at the end.
You spend all this time
That would
building a
be-
fursuit only for you to fuck it up.
The worst.
It's,
Now, what happens if can a mage perform this right? Can
yes,
a changeling?
the Verbena invented this. The Verbena did it. Yeah.
Horrific.
This is life magic is what this is.
Yucky.
So with this,
Indeed.
yeah. So you got people in the Verbena that are like pseudo changing breeds already, and if you're a vampire, if you're a changeling, this isn't going to work. If you're a mage or or kinfolk, then it works. If you're imbued, I want to say this would work, but you're going to have some complications with the big man upstairs if you do this.
The scariest thing I can think of here is a mummy performing this right. Because here's the thing. The mummy is definitely not going to take werewolf skins to perform this, at least if they've not fallen to Apophis.
Mhm.
But so like a mummy performing this right, acquiring, like, they have all the time in the world to do this, so they acquire the 5 skins necessary over decades,
Mhm.
and then they perform this. That's a very scary individual now.
Because you have a werewolf that cannot die no matter what you do.
Two-headed mummy werewolf.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh
that's
no!
fucking
Like,
scary.
well, okay, you can kill a mummy. You just it rules as written. You just have to drop a literal nuke on them.
Yeah.
If you do that, it will destroy their spirit and they'll be gone forever.
Mm-hmm.
Just one nuclear bomb is all it takes to kill a mummy.
Legalize
Atom
nuclear
bomb.
bombs.
Here it is. But you gotta kill 15 people in Team Deathmatch to get one, though.
25.
Yeah.
Yeah, 25. So it's going to take a while.
So I just imagine a werewolf mummy that is a great image. A werewolf mummy. This is my new horrific antagonist if I ever run a Sedite Chronicle.
Why couldn't I don't know, Samuel Haight be one of these instead?
That
That
would
would have been too
lit.
easy.
You just had to be chosen by Da'at. You would have had eternal life if you just did that, stupid. Why couldn't you be one of the chosen
Bozo.
few? Alright. You want to talk about the goth kids? You want to talk about the people that nobody likes? Let's talk about the Hollow Man.
Shut up, poser.
Let's talk about the Hollow Man. So this story begins the same way that just about every Mage Ascension book starts, with this gigantic 4-page novella about you, the viewer, your POV character meeting with the Hollow Ones, and it's your average meeting between goths. That just described as being dressed in black, their hair's dyed black, they're wearing black jewelry with onks and crosses across their body. They got heavy makeup, like white grease paint with black lipstick and black eyeliner. There's one like very clear message with the Hollow Ones. Goth subculture. This is a massive love letter dedicated to goth subculture. You notice with Meiji Ascension, you have the 9 traditions, but you also have these little tiny mini traditions where it feels like whatever idea that a mage writer had that just could not fit in a tradition or the Technocracy or the Nefandi got thrown in as one of these mini traditions. I think they're called the Taftani, where it's the Arabian Nights mage, where somebody at White Wolf watched Aladdin and fell so deeply in love with Aladdin that they needed to put him in Mage Ascension, and so you have the Taftani. So somebody in White Wolf
Interesting.
really loved goth subculture. Well, you're writing World of Darkness. Behold, of course you liked goths. And
Yeah.
then we got the Hollow Man out of it.
I think
Oh, I
it's
gotta
just
find the golf video.
the major issue of just how open-ended mage is as a concept,
Yes.
because while the paradigms you can fall under, there are standard paradigms that people fall under, because all the traditions, all the branches of technocracy, they have an active stake in wanting you to follow their paradigms. They don't want you
Yes.
to make your own paradigm. They want you to follow theirs
Little
because it
conflict of
helps them
interest.
with yeah.
Yeah.
So, but because there is the option for your own to make your own paradigm, because all it requires is you have to awaken your avatar and be enough on your own supply to be able to think that you can change reality. That's the only requirement to be a mage. Also, you have to be alive still, obviously.
And you have
Dead
to
people can't be mages.
you gotta keep your brain together. Calm, having a bout of paranoia. We're still recording, right?
Yeah.
All right. So with Mage Ascension, you just need to awaken to become a mage. You just need to know that magic exists and that it is possible for you to control it. You gotta believe in it, and then you ascend. And the definitions to ascension is kind of messy a little bit. It feels like mage never really described in words how you do this. It's like Dragon Ball Z and how they never really described how you can use ki, where it's something that you just figure out one day and then you can do it. But the hollow ones are, well, mages that not so much got rejected by the traditions and more of a group of people that just don't co-sign with their beliefs and just want to do things their own way. And with their quote unquote history starting at page 71, there is no history. There's no written history. There was they always existed though. They said that, oh no, Nero was a hollow one, but we don't have any actual evidence on that, so why the fuck do we even bring that up? And
We
then
have very definitive evidence. In Florence, he was hanging out wearing a black robe and painted his lips black, and was wearing black eyeliner, listening to Marilyn Manson on repeat.
that this book has four. It's dialogue between four different characters. The guy that says that is Neville. He's going to come back up later. A guy called the Baron tells Neville to shut up and quit mansplaining about the Hollow Ones, and then he takes over the narration. And he says,
What the fuck?
They've been known by many names: the Faithless, the Sepulchral, the Darkeners, the Doubters, the Disparate, the Broken, and the Abandoned. But they have always been around. Ever since people were ascending, they've just existed. But nobody has ever paid them mind. Nobody's ever said, yo, how are you casting magic? Nobody ever seemed to want to recruit them, never ever wanted to kill them. They just existed in their own little bubble and never really made anything of themselves, because a thing that you will notice with the Hollow Men is that they're very nihilistic. They're looking at the Ascension Wars and this fight going on within the Fondi and the technocracy uh, and the traditions, and even the Marauders off to the side. And they came to the realization that they are so behind in progress that if they started today and caught up to where the traditions are today, then in 50 years the traditions would become so far ahead of them that there's no way they could possibly catch up. So, why try? We're just going to do what we want to do with our magic. We're just going to do our own thing, not really be concerned with this zero-sum numbers mage game, and we'll just try to find happiness somewhere. And given that the canonical end of the World of Darkness was 2004, they were kind of right with this assumption, because they only had 9 more years to live as of when this narration is happening. So, if you knew that you had 9 years to live, would you be stressing out trying to get as much stuff done as possible, or would you just try to enjoy your life with the years that you still had?
I'd be mad chilling.
Yep. There it is. Because
Yep.
if you
Stop
don't,
it. I'm built different.
there it is. If you,
Oh yeah,
it's
hell
do you guys remember the M. Night Shyamalan movie Old?
yeah. I
Oh,
do
the beach
not.
that makes you
The
old.
Yeah.
shitty horror movie.
This bitch is beautiful.
Oh,
it was based
God.
off of this Swiss graphic novel called Sandcastle. And this is a book that I would like to recommend you, but there's a lot of stuff in it that is not kosher. It's like recommending Gantz to somebody. Like, I have to know you well in order to recommend this comic book to you. But
Yeah,
the
I
very
get that.
but essentially the plot is the same as it is with Old, but the whole thing ends with a fairy tale where it says there was a king of Persia, it's not necessarily Persia, but we'll say it's Persia. There's a king in Persia that was informed when he took the throne by the Grim Reaper, I'm coming to kill you in 5 years. There's nothing you can do about it. It's just going to happen. And the king, no, not 5 years, 50 years, sorry. And the king, for the next 50 years, did everything he could to try to square that. He built walls, he surrounded himself with guards, he looked at magic, he tried doing everything possible, and was so obsessed with looking out for death over his shoulder that he forgot to live his life. So by the time he dies and the Grim Reaper does come for him, he just appears right behind him, ready to take him after that 50-year period. The king is realizing, I could have done so much more with my life, but I didn't because I was so stressed out about death. That's the attitude of the Hollow Men. They're not going to stress about it. It's just going to happen one day, and when it does, it does. Big deal. It just means I don't have to deal with this shit anymore. And this is the attitude they had all the way into the 1920s. And nobody really called them the Hollow Men. They just existed. This is when they become known as the Hollow Men. You read The Great Gatsby, didn't you?
I actually did not.
You-
I have it, but
you-
I haven't read it.
Tell me somebody in this chat has.
Of course I did.
Yeah, please.
The American school system required it of me.
I'm having a Jeb Bush moment. Please clap. And with The Great Gatsby, the whole thesis of that book was the American dream is dead. Those who are in power today are going to be in power for the rest of their lives. All the gold medals have been given out. Everybody's taken first place. There is no space left at the winner's table. And those who will eventually become winners have to wait for someone that already has a gold medal to die for the chance to get that medal before someone else snatches it out of their hands. Those who are powerful will be powerful forever, and those who are weak will be weak forever. That was an attitude that, when that book released, resonated with a lot of Hollow Men who were looking at the 1920s with the rapid industrialization of America, and they were very quickly left behind. But they found a voice. One Aleister Crowley, a Malkavian, started looking into all this witchcraft stuff and started distributing and publishing it. And before you know it, a lot of very disenfranchised, very angry youths started ascending out of nowhere after reading these books. And now the Hollow Men started looking around and said, hey, do you recognize this guy? You're new to the circle. You brought another guy with you, and he brought another guy, and he brought another guy. Oh, I thought I was just going to be miserable by myself. I guess I have someone to be miserable with. Come here, have a seat.
Misery loves company.
It does.
And-
That is an inevitable fact.
And they mentioned the Lost Generation, where the Lost Generation to back then is how millennials see themselves today. The millennials have it better than they ever could imagine. The Lost Generation, you had shit. The Great Depression happened during your childhood and during your teenage years. You didn't get to grow up with getting any toy that you wanted. You couldn't just spend money the way you wanted to. You had to wait on bread lines and soup lines in hopes that you could get a meal. Your parents had to participate in dancing competitions and try to gamble just to make sure that you had new shoes for Christmas. And you get one gift. That's it. And did you think you were finally going to start making something of yourselves in the 1940s? Guess what? World War II happens, bish. And now either you're sent off to war or your siblings are sent off to war. Or if you're a new parent, you don't get to see your kid grow up anymore. Your kid is the last time your kid is going to see you is when your kid was 2 years old. The last thing he'll have of you that is yours is your pocket watch with a letter saying KIA. That is your generation, and that's your legacy. You have a reason to be angry. And that was the generation that caused numbers of the Hollow Ones to surge. T.S. Eliot's The Wasteland became their Bible. That was their soul put down on paper. Nobody knew what their struggle quite like T.S. Eliot, and he wasn't even a mage. And one day the Verbena and the Meritocracy look over and say, you know those guys over there that are like very early punks? Where'd they come from? I don't know. Maybe somebody should make first contact with them. So the Verbena get up, walk on over, and talk to the Hollow Ones and say, hey, we noticed that a lot of you know magic. Would you be interested in working with us? And the Hollow Ones gave it a chance. They looked over at what the Verbena were doing, and then realized what exactly it meant to be a Verbena, and immediately cut ties with them. I don't blame them. I know about the Verbena, and I want nothing to do with them either. And when asked, why did you choose to leave? Neville Sinclair, who is still alive in the World Darkness canon, turns and looks at them and quotes the book, "We are hollow men. We have always been here." And then it was their declaration that we know that we have nothing, and we're going to choose to have nothing, because nothing that anyone sells is worth our attention or our time. We're going to stay where we are for the rest of the time, and we're going to love it. And the Verbena looked at that and said, all right, I guess we'll call these guys the Hollow Ones. And then that name stuck, and then the New World Order adopted that name, and Iteration X adopted it, and then the Fondi accepted it, and all the traditions accepted it. That's just what the name that they just stuck with. And then the Tenocracy began to realize, wait a minute, you're not with the Verbena, but the way you ascended, oh, I'm sorry, buddy, that's reality deviance. We can't let you do that. You gotta die. And and thus through the 40s, 50s, and 60s, the New World Order specifically is trying to do everything in their power to kill the Hollow Ones. But
bro, they're going to do that themselves anyway. Just let them be.
Yeah, a paradox. You just let that take off.
In
bro,
my
fucking
sleep.
nihilists doing fuck all with their lives because the sun's gonna explode in 3 billion years.
I love that meme.
And then the New World Order ended up putting an indefinite hiatus on that mission because, I don't know, the traditions started getting powerful. They just lost the virtual adepts to the traditions. Then the Fondi suddenly surged in power in the 1960s. The Hollow Ones, you can wait, we'll punish you later. We gotta deal with all this other stuff. And the Hollow Ones just didn't care. They just went about life as usual. While then the 1970s come around, and you've got the Cult of Ecstasy bump into Age of Aquarius. The Hollow Ones are listening to Painted Black on full volume. And the Ecstatics are trying to recruit the Hollow Ones, and they just refuse it. They're not doing any of this hippie shit. They deny the orgies. They deny the DMT. They don't want it. They want us. They just like being hateful. They like being cynical. This is how they want to be. And well, that was the last olive branch to reach out to them, because ever since then, the Hollow Ones have just existed. And really, that's just it with the Hollow Ones. They just exist. This is a somnambulist in the world of Mage the Ascension. They're not out to cause any trouble. They're not going to help you. They're not going to hurt you. They're just here. That's all they are. They're just here.
So a complete fucking waste of space and time.
But it is. But you tried. You told me with the kinfolk that playing as a kinfolk was like, you don't really get to play Werewolf the Apocalypse as it's intended, but it's like an alternate way of playing. I see this. I see that with the Hollow Ones, where with the Hollow Ones, if you want a game of Mage the Ascension that is completely divorced from the meta plot of Mage the Ascension, you play as these guys. Where it's as easy as that. And they mentioned stuff where to say, the Millennium Bird. Have you ever heard of the concept of Millennium Bird? It's a bird that represents the next 1,000 years to come. It was a dove with Jesus Christ. It was a swan with the Hellenic Wars. To us, it's the crow. That will represent the years 2000 to 2999. Will be the year of the crow. Something tells me somebody wrote a certain comic book. And essentially, it's just a family of cynics that all hang around each other. And they're really pessimistic about everything, and that's basically it. That's how you be a Hollow One. You remember the goth kids from South Park?
Poser.
Oh yeah.
That's basically them. Basically,
Kind of suck, but okay.
Basically, this is how you play the Hollow Ones.
Oh my fucking god.
This is your average Hollow One NPC that you encounter in Mage the Ascension.
Literally, just fucking god.
fucking fucking Victor like finds them like in an underground goth club with 9-inch nails and shit, and he's all like, man, I may be depressed, but you motherfuckers do it for attention.
And they're over here saying, well, what we believe in, we're not emos. The emos are believe in cynicism, while we're nihilistic. I mean, I thought we were cynical.
Bro, I thought that was the same
Do you
exact
know
thing.
what the best moral argument against nihilism is?
What?
To
Weed?
kill them.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
yeah,
not
point a gun to them and see if they care about their lives or not.
And what makes them better than an Afandi is that they're not out to end the world. They just want to go about living what time they have left because they're convinced that the world will end tomorrow. So really just leave them be, and that's all you gotta do. That's all you have to do with the Hollow Ones. Funny enough, didn't the Bonars say that they regularly speak with these guys? Where
The Hollow Ones?
so do you remember how you cast spells with the Hollow Ones? Where you ascend, but because you do not have access to the vast wealth of resources that the technocracy and the traditions have, you do a lot of substitutions with your spells. The Hollow Ones steal a ton of magic from the traditions and just copy it. They're to the point where they're almost referred to as the 10th tradition because of just how much they piggyback off the other clans.
The orphans.
The orphans, or say a mage that was part of a convention but then quits the convention will end up joining the Hollow Ones at some point. And what are some of their spells? If you look through their book, almost all of them involve drugs or drug overdoses is how they deal damage. Where they have spells where, say, you take a pill and all of a sudden foam just starts coming out of your mouth and you suffocate and you drown your own vomit. That's a spell that they have. Or here's another one for you. Let's read the most complicated one here, Soul Shaping. This is going to be a difficulty 9 spell roll because you need 5 points in spirits to do this. So what this does, the mage must first force a soul of a target from their body and then alter the way in which the freed soul thinks, quote unquote. The more successes roll, the better the reprogramming works. For example, one success allows a mage to change the target's feelings about a specific individual, while 5 successes will allow a radical alteration to the person's entire personality. You pull a soul out of somebody, change it, and then stuff it back into them. That's what you get with this kind of power. Which is a spell that they've almost stolen from the Dream Speakers. Or Brittle Bones, which is a spell that they stole from either the Euthantos or the Verbena. Or Allergic Reaction, where this is just a very easy peasy parlor trick spell that anybody can learn. But you also notice that the cause of some of these spells, they sound very mundane, very simple. That is because you need more points in your spheres to really pull off the same kind of magic that the traditions are doing. It takes you more time to pull off these spells than anyone else. And you can substitute this stuff with, say, you need to exorcise a demon from a man. And the spell that it needs requires holy water that comes from Israel. Okay, you got a can of Pepsi, and that's the best you can do.
Can of Pepsi. I microwaved it a bit.
There it is. You
all
it in a
I
measuring
wanted
cup.
was a Pepsi, and she would give it to me.
Yeah, you just pour it over the man and hope you exorcise the demon. I hope you enjoy it. That roll is going to require twice the successes, and it's going to be at +2 difficulty. If you botch that, or if you get no
He
successes,
spontaneously explodes.
yeah, God bless you. And that paradox is going to be a motherfucker because vulgar magic, it's hard for you to get away with that kind of stuff. So a lot of stuff that the Hollow Ones have to do, they have to disguise it as accidents or weird coincidences, because it's very easy to point out what they're doing is magic. Because a celestial chorus, when it comes to healing somebody, you can just say, "Oh, I'm faith healing them," or the Verbena, I stuffed my druid leaves into his flesh. He's better now. The Akashic Brotherhood, I stuck a needle in him and now he's better. The Hollow Ones, what do you got? What do you got? How are you going to excuse
rubbed my
healing that
crystal
person?
over his forehead.
Yeah. I put
He
my
is now healed.
I pulled out the JO crystal after I spent all day charging it with my bros, and I put the crystal on them to try to heal them with the good vibes. That's going to trigger paradox. So it's
Eh.
No.
yeah, it's
Unless if you're
very-
around a bunch of
No.
dipshit, gullible hippies,
yeah.
which they do exist.
The cool effects see just smoke weed and then they heal. And that's all they gotta do.
They're better for it.
And
Man,
it's
now
all-
I gotta visit Freya. I'm gonna see if these DMT stickers work or not. This DMT ain't shit.
there it is.
Oh,
You smoked the salvia.
bruh.
You became an Animal Crossing character.
Yeah, that's basically what happens.
So when it comes to attitudes between other traditions, take a look at this. The Akashic Brotherhood doesn't have a formal opinion on the Hollow Ones, and neither do they. Because the Akashic Brotherhood, when it comes to missionary work, the Akashic Brotherhood doesn't do that. The Akashic Brotherhood says, if we build it, they will come. We can't lead a horse to water. If somebody wants to be enlightened, they'll come to us for it. We're just going to stay here in our Akashic records, hold on to everything. If you want to be enlightened, you'll call us. We will not call you. So the Hollow Ones say, good, we're just not going to call you. If you ever call us, we won't pick up the phone, and we're not going to call you to begin with. So that's it. That's your whole relationship between the two. Celestial Chorus. So how obnoxious is the Celestial Chorus to every other tradition? Just intergender. How much do other traditions like the Celestial Chorus?
Well, the technocracy was birthed from them.
Yeah.
So, combined with the fact that they're very haughty and think that of themselves better than even the Order of Hermes, no.
The Celestial
they're-
Chorus are what?
There's definitely good members of the Celestial Chorus, but for the most part, people don't like to deal with their crap.
Yeah, I was on the opinion that the Celestial Chorus were the de facto good guys of Maze Ascension until I read what their idea of Mass Ascension was, and I immediately turned on them after that.
What's
But
their method? Causing
They want to do the
Armageddon?
plot of Left Behind. They want an early rapture so they can leave and have a sneaker party with Jesus and then leave all of you to burn in hell.
Oh my fucking God.
Let's
Here it
go
is.
down
Yep.
to
And
the river to play.
What's the Celestial Chorus? To them, it's like the story of the Good Samaritan, but they're the guy beaten up on the side of the road. The Celestial Chorus will just walk right past them. Not even look at them. Won't say a word to them. They just pretend that the Hollow Ones don't exist. And the Hollow Ones are okay with that. Just fine. We don't have to deal with you and your bullshit. We cover ourselves in inverted crosses and pentagrams. You automatically know that you're not going to convince us with this Jehovah's Witness shtick you want to try to pull. There it is. You don't see any evangelists preaching to Satanists. You don't see that happening. And see, with the Call of Ecstasy, take a wild guess.
They don't care about their lives, so we can do all kinds of cool drugs with them.
Yeah. They think it's kind of cool. It's almost like there's a small bit of kinship with the Cult of Ecstasy, but the Hollow Ones just don't want to be high all the time. I mean, cool, you've got Jim Morrison and you got The End, and it's this long ass song, and you smoke to it, and you start seeing all these elves. We're not really into it. We don't want to push poison into our body to do what we could have done with, I don't know, 300 milliliters of Benadryl. We can just drink that and get the same effect.
They owe the Hat Man a lot of money, don't they?
Yeah.
So much money. Don't mess with the Hat Man.
It is very expensive to be an ecstatic.
Makes me think of LSD later that
Oh yeah,
PS
that game's
game
fucked.
has a hat.
You do notice that, like I said before, they pony a lot of their spells off the back of the Cult of Ecstasy. There's a lot of similarities when it comes to their spells.
Yep.
Dream Speakers. They're all about spirituality. Not anything that the Hollow Ones are interested in. The Dream Speakers want to talk about the spiritual and the immaterial. If it's not in front of the Hollow One, it doesn't exist. There's just a lot to Hollow Ones. There is no God. There is no heaven. There is no hell. We just exist. And when we die, it's going to be darkness, and that's it. So nothing the Dream Speakers have to offer works with the Hollow Ones. And same thing with that. You don't really see a Dream Speaker leaving the Dream Speakers to join the Hollow Ones. So, whatever, right? Alright, the Euthanatos. They have a lot of stuff to say about the Euthanatos, surprisingly. This almost takes up half a page.
Oh boy.
So, they really don't know what to make of these guys. They're called death mages, but they don't really raise the dead like what you would expect a death mage to be. It's more that these guys just go around and kill people, and that's just what they do. And yeah, they justify it. They say that, oh, you were wasting your life. We killed you so you could reincarnate as someone better. And that puts them off. But then they see the way that they dress. And it seems that everyone in the Euthanatos is just wearing the color black these days. And they're listening to the same albums. They listen to Nine Inch Nails, Trio Nocturna, Thrill Kill Kult, Sri Lanka, Das
The
Ich,
Cure,
Cannibal-
London After Midnight.
the Cure, Cannibal Corpse, Dying Fetus,
I could have seen
Rammstein.
Alice in Chains. And they're thinking to themselves, do we like the Euthanatos? Do we actually have something in common with these guys?
No,
we
because
would if
unlike you fucking losers, we're actually doing something with our lives.
Yeah, like the whole ones are thinking,
Get fucked.
they're thinking, well, I guess we would be Euthanatos if we killed people, but we don't, so we're not, and that's it, really.
Hey, look over there. Whoa, stop the truck. Hey, there's our dipshit little brother who don't want to do shit. Hey, get fucked, Fred. Ha!
Yep. So
I'm gonna
basically what
assassinate
I'm
Fidel
hearing is that the
Castro.
Hollow Man of the Euthanatos' deadbeat younger brother.
Essentially that, yes.
Wow, I kind
the
of want to
order-
play as a Euthanatos and just shoot a Hollow Man in front of him and just go,
Just
hey,
shit on
he
him
said
the
he didn't
entire
care
game."
about his life no more. I did him a fucking favor.
See, the Order of Hermes, they want the Hollow Men
Verified.
they want them disbanded and thrown off into the wind. And they say, well, fuck you then, Order of Hermes. We want nothing to do with you either. Easy as that. The two of them absolutely hate each other.
I don't know. When the Order of Hermes says something, I tend to agree with them. They're usually right.
The Order of Hermes are the most based off all the traditions, but they're still very wrong about a lot of things.
Consider Euthanatos.
Is that, after all, you guys...
Have you considered just being better than everyone?
Yeah,
you
that's
guys,
why I
how you
said
ascend.
Euthanatos.
you
No.
guys did make the Tremere, so...
The Tremere made themselves, thank you very much, and that's why they're the best clan.
Yeah,
They came from the Order of Hermes.
The Order of Hermes are right about a lot of things, but when they get something wrong, it goes catastrophically wrong. See, and
Like the Tremere saying, we can turn into vampires with no side effects.
Huh.
Nope, none at all.
Right.
the Sons of Ether. So everyone wants to say that they like the Sons of Ether, and then if you actually look into what the Sons of Ether do, you begin to realize that you want nothing to do with the Sons of Ether. Where this is a tradition that has lost its way. Where the Michelson Moore, I told you about the Michelson Morley experiment, right?
I don't recall.
The Michelson Morley experiment, where they tried to
briefly
scientifically
heard of
prove that ether existed, but they fucked up their calculations for the ether. And you could do this experiment again, you just haven't done it again. You could prove that the God particle does exist, but nobody in real life has done it, and nobody in the Sons of Ether that have named themselves after the ether have tried to do this again. So what they do instead? Oh, I don't know. They just cut the head off a cat and put it on the body of a monkey, and now we have the monkey cat. We're raising the dead. We're making ray guns and hoverboards and D-cell
Weird
batteries that never
science.
expire.
Kind
And,
of cool though.
and this is all pretty cool, but are you really accomplishing anything anymore? You're just doing science for the sake of science, and that's it. The Sons of Ether are a nowhere group that is going nowhere anytime soon, and well, the Hollow Ones are already going nowhere on their own, thank you very much. They don't need the Sons of Ether to take them nowhere.
But literally, the Sons of Ether are the Oingo Boingo song "Weird Science."
That is what they are. They have that's quoted in their book.
Oh, that's
Oh,
fucking
is it?
hilarious.
That's funny.
All I'm
the-
saying
Love that.
is, so what you're saying is, I can be Dr. Doofenshmirtz.
You can. You can also be,
Great to
you can
see
be-
you today. Behold, my shut the fuck up inator.
you can also be Dr. Hammer, Dr. Doom. what other doctors we have? Dr. Frankenstein.
Yeah,
I would
Dr.
love
Victor
to
Frankenstein.
play fucking Son of Ether as fucking Doctor Doom,
Yeah.
just so I have an excuse to just fucking play
MF Doom.
MF Doom the whole session.
I'm here to see MF
my
Doom.
goodness.
MF Doom.
Uh,
My-
th-
Doctor Doom has one of my favorite panels in all of comics where he is going to meet the Avengers.
yes.
And he just blasts a hole in the wall and enters in. And then when they start attacking him and losing, he says, "Cease, I have come to parley." It's like, but you attacked us. No, I didn't. I entered into your building and you assaulted me. It's like, you blew up our wall. You blew up the wall. It's like, how else do you expect Doom to enter? It's like, the door was right there. Enter through the door like a peasant?
That's funny. I love
Your
that.
attempts at humor bore me.
Your politics bore me.
With the Verbena. Now, knowing what you know about the Verbena, take a wild guess as to why the Hollow Ones don't like them.
Because they're the Verbena.
So they do have similar spells. That like the Hollow Ones will also go off into the woods and find pumpkin branches and smashed gourds and use them for spells. But this whole like witchcraft aspect to them, where yeah, they do care about the material, but let's be honest, it's the Verbena. They spend a little bit too much time focusing on the physical world. They can't see past their own noses. If it's not forest, if it's not moss that they're draping themselves in, they don't care about it. They have no real vision for the future anymore. They've just been dancing naked in the forest for thousands of years, and that's all they're going. It's another nothing group at this point.
Why does
But-
that make me sorry?
But there are a few Hollow Ones that get sick of the Hollow Ones and join the Verbena. So once again, the Verbena are rapidly beginning to grow in numbers, as per Maze the Ascension. Alright.
Because
And-
witches versus patriarchy, and then they use them as human sacrifice.
There it is.
Yippee!
You're not praying hard enough. You don't have enough virgin blood.
Yep.
The virtual
we
adepts.
gotta fight Alla like a Shin Megami Tensei boss. He's too powerful.
So with the virtual adepts, do you see any Hollow Ones with masters in computer sciences?
Well, no, because they don't give a fuck about life long enough.
See, they could have something in common with the adepts, but the adepts are talking about stuff like uploading their brains into computers and ascending that way, and the Hollow Ones kind of want to die alone. They're not really into this whole transcendental kind of shit, and they have no real motivation to reach ascension. So, yeah, cool. We can meet up for tea on Saturday, maybe coffee on Sunday, but that's as far as the relationship is going to go.
They're sitting across from Carmack while he's like, so when I built the new engine, it was actually the random interrupt Romero that I was working with, and he actually theorized a way where you could actually instantaneously teleport into a position. And the superposition of matter with you colliding with another being of physical matter would be enough to disrupt their cellular makeup and eviscerate them on the spot. He called it a telefrag. Wow.
Okay.
That's
Do you have the
cool,
porn,
dude.
Tommy? Do you have the porn movie I asked for? No. Okay, I'll be on my way.
Tom Hall has it. I don't watch it.
It's all their
Oh my
relationship is.
god. Oh no.
That's
Cormac.
Yes.
Shit. He's coming after me for committing tax evasion.
The Tenocracy.
Shit.
I will take a wild guess as to how this relationship goes out. The Tenocracy wants the Hollow Ones dead.
Exterminate.
Yeah,
Exterminate like a fucking Dalek.
yeah, take a wild guess as to how the Hollow Ones feel about the Tenocracy.
Fuck
Oh,
you,
fuck you.
man.
And they're saying, oh, they want you to die because you're breaking the rules of reality. Like, yeah, the Nefandi are doing this, the traditions are doing this, the Marauders are doing this. They want us dead, but we're at the same time we're on the bottom of the kill list.
Yeah,
And
because they don't fucking do anything.
and you don't really have that many technocrats going around kidnapping Hollow Ones, taken into the re-education camp because the Hollow Ones don't do anything exactly. All right, now for the Nefandi. So I said that these guys were nihilists. The idea of the Nefandi disgusts these guys. The satanic wizard, are you shitting me? where the Nefandi only work themselves, they care about themselves, they only love themselves. The Nefandi would turn on each other on a moment's notice. There is no real unity amongst the Nefandi because he who worships the worm will kill another worm worshiper just so they can get that extra level of corruption. There is no unity amongst the Nefandi, so they don't even think twice about the idea of joining the Nefandi. It ain't going to happen. The Nefandi would love it if they could convince a Hollow One to join their side because, you're wearing the pentagram, but no, the Hollow One does this for fashion. The Nefandi does this unironically. And, well, dog, it's the Nefandi. How much do I really need to stress this point?
Yeah, not gonna happen.
Marauders. They feel the same way about Marauders as everyone else feels about the Marauder. You are a glitch in the Matrix that reality itself is trying to bug out. If I associate with you, I'm going to die.
Oh, wow. Suddenly the nihilist cares about their self-preservation.
Well,
Oh my god, no, don't kill me. I want to live.
It's like the level of nihilism that they're on is that the Hollow Ones don't want to put a gun in their mouths or anything. They just want to fall asleep one day and not wake up. And that's just it.
Oh,
Wow.
really?
Yeah. And that's that's as far as the ideations go.
What's the
Wow,
fucking difference? You waste a
see.
fucking space.
Uh,
I
the other
hate
ones-
these guys. I don't know if you can
You-
tell.
you
Fuck
hate
the
'em.
Hollow Men. They suck. I hate them.
Nah,
They're boring.
I,
They're boring.
I feel a kinship with these guys. I get it. I don't agree with it, but I get it.
And
Yeah.
well, back when I was 16, I was in the same place as them.
Yeah.
But
I'm 14 and this is deep.
yeah, but
Or
I grew up-
such a 14.
Yeah, because I only had, besides counting you, Kyle, I only had 4 friends in high school, and that was it. And
At least you had friends.
I was biting down hard on the black pill when I was in high school, and I got to the point where nobody wanted to be around me because I was just so cynical and pessimistic. And then I had my big damn crash out. I got expelled from school when I was 16, and during that time, I'm glad it happened because what happens to you is that they send you off to an opportunity school where you start working your way back into the school system on your best behavior. You wear a uniform. There's cameras everywhere. There's like bars on the classroom doors. You thought school was prison before. No, these guys make it no excuse that they're not pretending that school isn't a prison. But during that time, I started realizing, started thinking, well, what you were doing was really stupid. Just everything about that, you only have yourself to blame as to where you are today. And it wouldn't be until 4 years later where I would begin to work my way back into a right-minded way of living. I started going to church. I started believing in God again. And then I stopped treating myself like shit, and I stopped being friends with people that made me miserable. And eventually I was able to pull myself around. And I don't want to toot my own horn or anything, but I get the Hollow Ones because I used to be here, but I left that behind. So I can see why you think this, but I also have a dozen reasons as to how you can get out of this and make something of yourself.
Yeah, come join the Euthanatos. We're hiring.
In terms of other splats, they briefly mentioned them where they mentioned Samuel Haight by name. Why is this fucker in every book we've been reading for the past 2 months?
Bro, he's just
Well,
a YouTube poop.
I
Oh.
have a reason for this if you would like it.
Tell me the reason.
So, the writer of this book also wrote a little thing called the Samuel Haight, a psychological evaluation.
Yeah.
He is one of the authors that is responsible for Samuel Haight. Not fully, but in a way, yes.
Yes. So they mentioned they bring up Samuel Haight because they're saying that's the only werewolf that they know by name, just because of how infamous Haight is. But they go up to werewolves, and the werewolves don't do anything about it because, well, the 10.5 to Dream Speakers, the Glassworkers had the Virtual Adepts, the Children of Gaia had the Cult of Ecstasy, and the Black Fears with the Verbena. But every werewolf is just okay with a Hollow One walking into their cairn because the Hollow One isn't trying to screw them over. They're not trying to steal their cairn. They're not trying to reap quintessence out. They're not trying to steal their fetishes and learn how to use them. They're not going to skin them alive either. The Hollow One just exists. So, all that we the Fiona in the cairn. There's a Hollow One over there. Should we do anything about it? Nah, just leave him alone, man. He's good. He's fine. That's the attitude they have with them. And vampires, they know a few
Depends
hollowers who
on what type of vampire you are.
yeah, and they know a few hollow men that actively run in crowds with vampires.
Oh, gee, I wonder why.
Like, once a vampire learns that you're a mage, cha-ching, there's my ticket to greatness right there. I don't care if you're an analyst, you can cast spells. Cast magic for me, please.
Well, to be fair, the Book of Nod specifically says, stay away. Stay away from the mages. Stay away. Do not go near them. Stay away from them. They are dangerous.
When was the last time a
but,
Bruja read the Book of Nod?
That's not a...
When was the
that's
last
not
time a
an
Bruja read?
invalid point.
It. And
Me stupid, want to smash.
they also mentioned ghosts, where occasionally like a ghost will pop up. I just deal with it when it shows up. Just death is everywhere. Of course, you're going to encounter a ghost. And if death comes looking for you, well, guess what? If the ghost is coming after you to reap your soul, then I guess your time has come. So, there might be cases where a specter just shows up and kills a Hollow One, and they just don't resist it, because they assume that this is just how it's supposed to end. And do fairies exist? Do demons exist? Do hunters exist? Probably not. But it's okay. We don't have to worry about that. And talking about Hollow Ones in terms of culture, I can summarize this in one sentence. Have you heard of goth subculture?
Yeah.
Okay, you know how to
Everyone
play a Hollow
has.
One then.
Yep.
That's basically it. These are just goth wizards, and that's really it. That's really it.
Something say somebody.
So Kyle, what kind of goth are you?
Girl, I got a
I'm
freak
not a
on a
goth.
leash.
See, because there was a site. Here it is. Is the site still up? Is the site still up? I think it is. I think
know
it
there's
is.
one of my
I
favorite.
found it.
Oh,
All
sorry.
right. So here he is. The image is a little bit low res. Here are your 21 different kinds of goth.
Yep.
Let me see.
There we are.
I think the metalhead would be the closest to me. Either that or the goth geek.
I like the Victorian one.
Where for me it was number 2, the romantic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And where I started wearing button-up shirts and slacks to school. I didn't do the full cape. I wore my hair like that. I started reading dark fantasy and like grim, dark kind of stories. Surprisingly, Warhammer never came across my purview.
Huh.
Weird.
But I always tried being like a little bit more poetic. And around that time, Macbeth was my favorite story. And
It is a good story though.
I look back at myself when I'm 16. I'm
It's
thinking
pretty
you were.
solid.
Yeah, I look at myself when I'm 16. I'm thinking you're so fucking stupid.
We were all fucking stupid at 16.
Dude, I was.
Yeah,
I
me
don't
tell
know
you-
what you're on about. I was a genius, absolute scion of humanity. I have never thought a wrong thought in my life.
yeah.
I'm dying from cringe.
I remember too that I had a lot of white clothes as well, where the button shirts I was wearing was white, the pants I wore was they're white. I would alternate back and forth between black and white depending on what day it was.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I know for a
I've
fact.
always had a
there-
thing for pastel colors.
Yeah.
I know
and-
for a fact there
Yeah?
was a. Oh, sorry. I know
No, you have
for
an
a-
idea. Tell it.
I know for a fact that there's like, there. I wouldn't call it like a reverse goth, but there is a type of goth that instead of wearing all black, you wear all white.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're
It's really
Chris
interesting.
Motionless from Motionless in White.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Or was it
that
Eric
much.
Motionless? Eric Motionless, sorry.
Mm-hmm. And there's a few other like subtypes that are just not on that page, but yeah, that's where I used to be when I was 16, and now I've crawled out of it.
Thank God.
Oh, trust me. I was
And-
fucking cringy
Yeah,
back then
just-
too. I was so fucking obsessed with Star Trek, it wasn't even funny.
There it is. You elongate your ears to make yourself look like Spock.
Oh god. Yeah, I was that level of cringe. I was that fucking level of cringe.
You found a better sci-fi story to talk about than Star Wars.
Yeah, I guess.
Between the two.
I
You come to school
guess.
dressed as Darth Vader.
Nah.
On the planet Vulcan.
And
Oh god, yeah.
I think that's it with the Pariahs, in all honesty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Now. Go ahead.
Now what?
generally speaking, if you're like if you're playing a pariah, you are the downtrodden, you are the outcast, you are the pariah. If you're playing any of these, you're not going to be really accepted among whatever your own kind is. It does give the option for the rare cross splat game, like a Ronin will work with a vampire if it furthers its own goals. A vampire, certainly, if they're on their own, a Caitiff isn't going to turn down the help of a werewolf. Definitely not the help of a mage.
Yes.
Is your alliance going to be permanent? Absolutely not.
Nope.
But in the World of Darkness, when are they ever permanent?
No, they're never.
So it's definitely options for your cross splat games where you're wanting to do something specific and people can't decide which game line they want to play.
Yeah, where
So
I would.
they're good for that. Otherwise, they're good for if you want to be that guy who's just like, hey, you're gonna be the punching bag. Happy about that? Okay.
This is just another version of hard mode. This is like hard mode plus.
Yes.
I would never recommend anybody playing a werewolf vampire game. I would say that a werewolf mage game should be played at some point, and a vampire mage game you probably want to get a Setite, Tremere, Zamichi, or anyone who can cast magic involved in that game, so the mage doesn't leave you behind in the dust, but that'd be good to have.
Well, it comes down to like if you are bringing a mage into another splat, there's probably going to be more combat involved. And now you're suddenly having to deal with balancing their paradox. You now have a heavy hitter on your team, but that heavy hitter can just erase themselves from reality if they're not careful. So you need to choose when to tactically deploy your nuclear option.
So it's a this is a great book. Now,
Yeah,
is there a pariah? Is there a pariah with say wraiths? Well, behold, that is every wraith. You're not.
Yeah, you're a ghost.
Yeah.
And,
Why would you be happy? You're dead.
and same thing with the changelings, because the changelings,
You have the
by
Shadow
nature of you
Court.
being a changeling, and then same thing with hunters and demons, where there's not really an outcast demon and demon of fallen.
Yeah,
And-
the outcasts for demons is basically the Raveners, but they're also just the antagonists, so it doesn't really fill the same role.
And they don't really
You
give a
could
shit
argue
either.
it's the reconcilers, because no one likes the people who are trying to be a better person while you're sort of being awful.
They want the heel of God in their mouth, essentially.
Yeah,
Just-
well, a lot of reconcilers don't want forgiveness from God per se. They just want forgiveness. Like every demon has done awful things. Every
and-
single one of them. And the mummies, they have one that's kind in that role, but they're all working together and they're all buddy anyway. So it's really only these three splats that have a de facto. These are the outsiders.
There are outsiders with the Kuei Jin, but there's too many outsiders. There's four outsiders.
If you're not part of the main dharmas and you're one of any of the offshoot dharmas that have never brought anyone to enlightenment ever, then they don't like you.
And they're
Follow the
also
status
waiting,
quo.
and they're waiting for all the scorpion eaters to die. and that's it. That's it. Episode over.
Yes. Thank you
Episode
very
over.
much.
No more episode. Thank you, Intergener. Thank you, Lieutenant Sec.
You're very
we'll
much
do this all
welcome,
again
Mr. Depp.
We'll do this all again next week when we cover the Thin Bloods.
Yeah.
Which is either going to be.
I have
this is either going to be
so much to talk about Thin Bloods.
Our
Thin
longest
Bloods are
episode.
probably the thing I know the most about when it comes to a vampire, and that's, to be fair, there's not a lot to know about Thin Bloods, but I know it all.
Yeah, because the Time of Thin Blood is a spooky book that we get to read about.
Yeah, it's that's a good book. And then Beckett's Jihad Diary has a bit of extra information beyond that.
Mhm.
They are there's a bunch of stuff that I feel that Thin Bloods just didn't reach their potential, and I can
Yeah.
talk about that
Yeah, because
next week. There's some ideas I have, like if I were to write my own vampire, I would probably change the Thin Bloods up a little bit. I like how they are in Revised and in V20. I like how they run them, but I feel like they need just a little bit more to make them functional, because where they are right now, if you play a Thin Blood, you cannot play a Thin Blood in a coterie of normal vampires.
Yeah. You will get
Because
left into dust.
You just have so much inert blood that you just cannot really
Contribute.
function.
Yes.
Yeah, you're so much, even as a 14th generation, you are so much weaker than a 13th generation. Like the difference between the 13th and 10th, there's not a noticeable difference in terms of power. The difference between 13th and 14th is hugely noticeable. 15th's even worse, and 16th you might as well just be a ghoul.
Yes. By that point.
Well, you're slightly better than a ghoul, but you're basically just a ghoul.
Yes. And there we have it. So hopefully we all learned a little something from this episode.
I certainly did.
Oh yeah, this was
Me too.
yeah, this was great. I learned so much about Ronin.
That when we
Ronin
do
are great.
Mage 1936, we're going to play as Hollow Ones.
No.
Clearly. Again, you
I want to play
you should join-
Technocrat.
You should join the sorcery game.
Yeah.
Join the sorcery game. Be a
sorcery
sorcerer.
game.
Wait, what?
Sorcery game.
Yeah.
But work.
yeah,
I got
we're trying to
work.
recruit
I got
you.
fucking work.
Yeah, King is running a sorcery game on Saturday, and we unfortunately lost one of our members recently. So.
We're not
I
going to
like
bring
to
that
have
up.
at least one day to myself.
There it is.
No days to yourself. Sorry.
And
You
Ryan
must
works on
suffer.
Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah. See if we can shake Cam out of the tree. Let's see if we can get him on it.
Might be a good idea.
Yeah.
Anyway, good night, everybody.
All right. We'll see you later.
Wait,
GM.
before
What?
you go, Foundry, look at the things.
Oh,
Look at the
yeah,
things.
fuck. I keep forgetting about that.
Yeah. Accept it before you lose it.
Oh.
It's a very good system to run things on. So, but like, it does require a bit of learning. So
yeah.
Look at it. You like it. It's yours. You don't like it, I can send it to someone else.
All right,
Right.
yeah. I'll do what I can.
Are we still recording?
Yes.
Shit.
I
Oh,
thought we
buddy.
were done.
Yeah,
Uh,
I was
I-
was
it's okay,
trying
it's
to
okay.
end, but people kept saying, "Wait, before I say
Uh,
goodnight," and
yeah,
I thought it was
Andy
the fucking
Flack before
recording.
someone else says something. Pull the plug.
Good night.
Pull the plug.
The end.